Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. So, we've got quite a few things going along as we kick off today's episode. Let me just do a quick check on where we are with recognition. We are moving up, I believe. Yes. We are moving up at a very healthy rate of 3 per month. We have GDP in the top 10, voting rights, and literacy above 40%, and we've got an embassy for now. So that's all very good. We have some events. We have an election going on, so let's take a quick look at that. Let's see. The Revival Party, which is our radicals, seem like they got a good amount of momentum. Predicted to take 48% of the vote. Learning Council, 21%. Free Trade Party, 12%. Moderate Socialists, 10%. That's the landowners. And Society for Progress, that's the progressives. And the rural folk, that's 5%. So realistically, I think a government of the Learning Council and Revival Party is likely, but I want to try to shift the balance towards the Learning Council while we can. So we'll deal with that. With that being said, I'm going to try to enable election events this time, and we'll see what happens. But before we get started with that, let's do the Days of Darkness. An eruption of unprecedented records has utterly destroyed the lives of many Dutch East Indies people in the state of West Java. The explosion of the Krakatoa could be heard from hundreds of miles away, and anything that had the ill fate of surrounding the island was immediately devastated. And the day was made night, those enormous waterfalls of fire cascading down the mountainside. A black cloud, gargantuan, all the birds have long abandoned this field. From years from now, I will sit by the fireplace, and the light will disturb me no more. We will help with all we have. Cost the government about $3,000 in expenses for 2 years, improves relations with Dutch East Indies. Or we have nothing to spare, no effect. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to spend the money. We have nothing to spare. We're dealing with our own... Did that cost me money anyway? Did that cost me money anyway? No. Nope, it's something else. I have a state affected by the tsunami. Oh, yeah, here we go. Tsunami in Baluchistan. Oh, interesting. 1.9 intensity. Reduced ranches, agriculture, extraction, and plantations throughput. Increased mortality, reduced infrastructure. Increased goods consumption for peasants. Reduced market access, price impact. Interesting. Here we go. Nights of waves. Waves taller than chimneys have ravaged the state of Baluchistan. A terrible consequence of the volcanic eruption. I will never forget that silence. There are no words to describe this tragedy. Oh, wow. So, start tsunami in West Java, 30 devastation to every coastal state in Indonesia, 10 devastation to every coastal state in Japan, Oceania, Ethiopia, Zanj, Southern Africa, Bombay, Madras, and Bengal. Alright, and this state is technically in... I'm not sure what... I'll check in a second, but it's in one of these the regions over here. I think this might be... No, it has to be Bombay, right? Because Bengal's in the east. Well, it could be Madras. I got it down to 2. My geography could be better. There are no words to describe this tragedy. All right, let me look at those regions so I don't make myself look like a fool again. Okay, this is Bombay. Madras is the south. Bombay is the west. All right, got it. And then we have the right result event. This election season has begun in Persia, and with it the strategizing of the government's fixers. If we wish, we could wield the power of the state to ensure a favorable result. On the table, the map of Fergana sprawled across books, empty mugs, and lost drawing instruments. 4 men formed a circle around it, chattering about the intuitive leanings of Kokand. It was certain to go for the government, they decided, but by how much? Could they muster an extra 1,000 votes out of the suburbs? How would the recent accumulation of laborers in the area affect voting patterns? Half an hour into what had been intended to be a lunch break, they reached their decision. The town would grant the party 8,000 votes with a solid but fruitless opposition bloc in the working class areas. Far more tasteful than a 100% turnout. So I basically have the option to swing the election toward any of the parties. What this will do is it'll give that party 150% momentum. It'll remove 50 momentum from every other party, the 50% momentum from every other party, percentage points of momentum. It'll reduce the progress toward tradition of free elections, which currently we have 0 steps of progress. And it will reduce election confidence by 15%. And it'll remove all further election events. I'm not going to, and this is the same across all the parties. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to pick the 5th option, which is if we are to achieve anything, the elections must be free. This increases electoral confidence by 10%. It adds progress towards the tradition of free elections to census suffrage. And it'll have us have election events, and we'll see what happens as we go on with those. Finally, there's a radical revolt happening in the Marina Kingdom. So we've got this army mobilized already. I'm just going to send them right to the front to deal with that. And now we'll chill a bit as we wait. I do kind of wish to construct things for our... Oh! A tumultuous campaign. While campaigning for the revival party in the turmoil-racked Fars, Mozzafer ad-Din Ansari has been attacked and brutally beaten by a group of unknown assailants. When the crowd cleared and the screaming stopped, all that was left in the street was his prostrate form, bruised, cut, and barely recognizable as the titan he had represented not 5 minutes before. Some rest and recuperation would be best. He becomes scarred, which makes him slightly more popular and less healthy, but reduces the revival party's momentum. Get back to the trail right away. He becomes wounded and increase momentum, so that's significantly reduced character health. Or, of course, we know who it was. It was us. Reduce electoral confidence by 5%, subtract 30% from the revival party. He becomes wounded and gets shell-shocked, which reduces his health by 20% and reduces his popularity by 30%. This one is a little extreme. I think I'm going to give him some rest and recuperation, because we're trying to move towards something, towards a real representative democratic system. I need a little bit more governance capacity. Yemen I'm short on, but I'm not actually short on capacity, I'm just short on, what do you call it? That thing. It's that thing. I could be smarter about this, but I'm not being smarter about it. I thought I was going... Oh, right. I was going to go after... I was going to do some more expansion in the Arabian Peninsula, but I'm not going to do that for now. Unity and tradition. In the light of the devastation suffered by states like Baluchistan, the moderate Socialists Party has campaigned on uniting Persia in this trying time behind traditional values. Our nation lies in ruins, but Persia has risen from the ashes before and will do so again, as long as we do not forget who we are. This is not a time for radicalism or recklessness. This is the time for healing. We must look to what made us persevere in the past and safeguard it from those who would see it destroyed. Until we have rebuilt, until we have healed, it is all we have. We must come together during this difficult time, gives them 30% momentum, or this seems like cold-hearted opportunism. 5% of pops in Baluchistan become more radical. I'm going to go with the second one, because unfortunately I do not want to give my landowners, my heckin' landowners, more momentum, because those guys are jerks. Alright. Right, so we were going to do some expansion in Persia, and hope... Oh, interesting. That allows us to go after the Ottomans. So let's... in the Arabian Peninsula. I can't go after them right now immediately, because I'm already in a thing. Marina Kingdom wants their own market. Decline. Is that going to goof up there? Yeah, a little bit. Oh, they're isolated, because they don't have a port here. They got one building. Alright, so I don't need to build one, so that'll be fine. But I am going to improve relations with them. Cash flow is a little bit rough right now, but we should be okay. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on this this port. Actually, I can build this port faster. I'm gonna do it. Authorial intent. A minor scandal has buzzed around the Society for Progress as a piece of reformist fiction written by Naser Tabrizi in his youth has begun to circulate once more. Whilst enthusiastically written, that is the work's only merit. A plague of superstition and dogma was the end of Persia. If it is so, then why are the trains still running? How could they possibly have acquired the coal to fuel it? Your propensity to butcher your characters for cheap tragedy is nothing short of shameful. And to make matters worse, why would the engineer refuse to entrust those who saved his life with the knowledge of how to repair the train that they depended on, leaving them defenseless upon his decapitation? This is a good one of these. There are a bunch of different versions of this one, and I think it's country-based, but this is a good one. A tragic tale, but there's no reason to harass him. Reduced momentum for Society for Progress. Or this is Naser ad-Din Tabrizi's problem, not the party's. He loses some popularity and reduced momentum. I'm just going to go with the first one. Reduced momentum for them is not a problem for me. What I would love is to get increased momentum for the Learned Council, who are my religious party, who I am trying to bolster the strength of in these trying times. This is taking... Oh, this isn't actually taking much extra time. Alright, that should be fine. So there's the fight kicking off. We should be moving forward with a reasonable... at a reasonable rate. Smoke streams. Vivid red sunsets were reported for several months across the country. Fire engines were even called out in Kandahar to quench the apparent conflagration. Many artists and academics have expressed their interest in this phenomenon. A blue and sometimes green moon, its inflammable luminescence, igniting the night with unnatural intensity. White moonbeams shining through the clouds emerge purple and sometimes also blue, green. Lavender suns, noctilucent clouds, a distasteful fascination. Only a painting could capture such beauty, extra arts academies throughput in Kandahar, or academics must ensure that we're prepared for the next eruption. Extra universities throughput in Tabriz, volcanic eruptions will be less damaging in the future. I'm going to go with that second one, I almost always do. It's just sensible. It's just the sensible thing. Alright, so they're going down in Liberty Desire now, which means they are no longer isolated, so I can stop building a new port. Alright, Persian-British Friendship Committee offers opportunity. The Persian-British Friendship Committee has offered us an opportunity to establish a foreign investment rights agreement with Great Britain. The lobby has offered to use their connections to smooth the negotiating process. The negotiations done at the table with a representative of the British government have been long and arduous. The British representative knew that they were dealing with the group without the power to match theirs and had adjusted their strategy accordingly. Nevertheless, they had come to an agreement. Nothing in writing, of course, but that was hardly important. When the government sent the official copy, if they did, they would find that there was already a drafted response waiting in London. We would be happy to pursue this, or this is not in our interests. This is not in our interests. I don't know how to get these guys to understand. Having Britain invest in you is a gateway to being freaking vassalized. Although I guess I am a major now, but still, it's going to nerf my investment pool, and I don't want that. Rich get richer. Mohammed Bozarjomeri. Mohammed Bozarjomeri has thrown a soiree for the cream of the industrialists. Bribes, ill-disguised as donations, traded hands into the Free Trade Party. With your help, this coming election will make sure that those machines of yours stay greased and those ports stay open. Only 200 hands were in attendance, yet each clap was a thunderstrike to herald the passage of 1,000 ships. They're likely to spend it all on champagne, extra momentum for the free traders. Electoral confidence is reduced by 3%. Someone ought to inquire about these donations. Reduce momentum for the free traders. Industrialists mad -2. Oh, I would love to keep their job creators' power. Or can't we put this corruption money to better use? Extra momentum for the free traders. 2% of upper and pops in the country become more radical. Extra labor movement pop attraction and socialist movement pop attraction. And 3% increased electoral confidence. That one seems good. I don't have a socialist movement right now, but I might develop one. Well, no, because 10% to 0 is 0. I'm going to go with that. Actually, no, wait, hold on. Because that will give more momentum to the free traders, and I don't want that. Hard choice. My free trade party are headed up by... Oh, they're headed up by a theocrat. You know what? They're likely to spend all of it on champagne. That's fine. I can put them in the government along with my, along with the Learned Council if useful. Alright, so let's take a quick look at this war. Yeah, we're doing just fine. Despite a blunder, we are doing just fine. Egypt damaging relations. How absolute dare. Students rally to the liberal movement. A group of students attending university in Iraqi Ajami have arranged a demonstration in support of the liberal movement. The display has inspired other students to join the cause. Let me take a quick look at my liberal movement for a second. Is there anything let me see. They don't like the secret police. That's not shocking. They don't like censorship. I might be able to deal with that. Ooh, they don't like hereditary bureaucrats. This is definitely something I can deal with. They like elected. So this would placate them, and that would be nice. Anyway, the lecture hall was barren. There were always 1 or 2 students missing for illnesses, travel, or family occasions, but nothing of this scale. There were 3 or 4 students per row, each thrown into sharp contrast by the empty seats to their sides. It was material for a lecture of its own, he thought, like a heap of sand whose grains had blown away one after another until its form suddenly changed, so followed what had once been a class. The youth will lead Persia into the future, increased political pop strength for all pops in Iraqi Ajami, reduced university building throughput, and stronger liberal movement. The second one is they ought to focus on their studies. No increase in the strength of the liberal movement, but 5% of academics pops become radical. The other modifiers are halved. I'm going to do the first one. I think it's fine if they do that. And maybe I work on getting appointed or elected bureaucrats once the election is finished. But I do want to do the election first to get that knocked out. Yes. I want to break into the rest of the Arabian Peninsula here. Partisan papers. Party-affiliated newspapers have been proliferating during this election season. Publications associated with the Revival Party have been particularly effective in spreading the party line. Read all about it. Honest politicians attacked by shameless cowards. Leading candidate for office usher issues... Yeah, I'm so good at reading. Leading candidate for office issues heartwarming appeal to the common man's heart. Man on campaign trail pets a puppy. Read all about it. The Revival Party has used the papers brilliantly, extra momentum for them. Newspaper circulation is through the roof. This is a boom for publishers, extra paper mills throughput. Or it is in the state's interests to limit the spread of lies. This is available because we have censorship. Reduce momentum for the Revival Party by 10%. I'm going to pick that third one. That's going to once again push them slightly down. It's going to push all of our other parties slightly up. What I would really like is to get some momentum in the hands of the Learned Council. That doesn't seem to be happening, but I can still hold out hope. Coup in Sichuan click. Interesting. Oh my goodness, there's a Taiping liberal revolt in the Heavenly Kingdom. They're going to take it over. Interesting. Very interesting. There we go. So that war's sorted out. Political movement disbanded. This is the Tajik National Movement. Interesting. Alright, and Marina Kingdom is once again going down in Liberty Center. Wonderful. Just going to keep an eye on my, on everything as our election rolls up. Questionable practices. Released patients from the Tehran asylum have steadily denounced the practices involved in their supposedly medical treatments. Mistreatment of the sick, withholding of personal letters, and disproportionate punishments were among the charges. They would make us sit in a chair for hours, if not the whole day, in silence. We couldn't talk to any other patient, not even read a book. They would only excuse us to go to the restroom if we were lucky, otherwise it was just a rusty chamber pot. No food, no water. If we weren't sick when we were admitted, we would be so within just a few weeks. Their judgment cannot be trusted. Salty Shia Ulema. We need to entirely revise the asylum's work. Costs a barrel full of money, but increases standard of living for the lower and middle strata in Iraqi Ajami. Or the Shia Ulema can take over the asylum system. They become happy, but significant penalty to bureaucracy. Ooh, this hurts. I can't say 10%. That's a huge penalty. I'm just going to say their judgment can't be trusted. Sorry, Shia Ulema. I will do as you desire later on. Ooh, okay. We have a theocrat in charge of the landowners. Well, that sure is interesting. We're going to see how that goes. A protectorate in Niger. This is against Mombasa. And Okay, no, seems like no more election events. Sometimes they drop an election event right at the end of the thing. Alright, so, from here, we have an unstable government. Alright, so we need to increase... The industrialists will put us in a pretty good spot. The Revival Party will not. The landowners will put us in a really good spot, but unfortunately, those guys are bastards. And they're going to try to stop us from doing all the stuff we want to do. So, it's the industrialists and the Shia Ulema for now. Gotta be... I don't rightly know what to do with the citizenship yet. I'm going to leave that be for now. So we were thinking about bureaucrats. The absolutist movement would like appointed, and they would not care about elected, which is interesting. Appointed gives us extra tax cap, which we largely don't need. Elected would give us extra institution cost, reduced institution cost multiplier, which is nice. Hereditary currently gives us reduced population cost multiplier and stronger aristocrats. I think we're going to go with elected, despite the fact that it's going to be a little harder. This is going to make the absolutists a little mad, but they'll be fine. They'll deal with it. They're very weak. It's going to make the liberals happy, and that's going to help us make it happen. This is going to be better for the country overall. It's going to put the absolutists into agitating. That's fine. That's fine. The landowners are going to be very, very salty, and that's just going to have to... We're just going to have to deal with that. Interesting. A bookkeeper for... So, the Shia Ulema bounced back and forth between having Da'wat activated. A bookkeeper in government administration employed by the Persian-British Friendship Committee is under investigation for bribery. The committee leading the investigation gathered to consider the facts collected. They argue over the scandal. I understand the British-Persian Friendship Committee benefits from a close relationship with the lawmakers of Persia, but these lobbyists cannot be authorized to pledge any amount of money to ensure success. The Persian-British Friendship Committee is responsible for the agent they hired extra legitimacy, but reduced appeasement by 1, or perhaps it was a clerical error. Industrialists happier. 5% of bureaucrats pops in the capital become more loyal. Ooh. I would like the industrialists to be happier. Am I close to a breakpoint for legitimacy? I'm really not. Perhaps it was just a clerical error. Hopefully that'll activate their ability once again. I think it will. Yes, there we go. Beautiful. Alright. And intelligentsia are no longer criticizing the government, which is nice. Landowners are still super mad about census suffrage and super mad about poor laws, but that's okay. That will just be something we'll have to live with. Now, Social Security is relatively low. I can increase that. I don't know that that will be good for us. I do want to increase home affairs. That's going to require quite a bit more bureaucracy. I think 5 more levels of government sectors will be required to make that happen. So let's quickly do that. I don't know why I'm closing the filters like I don't need them. I absolutely need the filters. Alright, once again, we'll just sort by taxation capacity. We're pretty low in Uzbekia, pretty low in Fergana, Baluchistan, Khwarezmia, and we'll put 1 in Kurdistan. And now we've unlocked military statistics. Ooh, this unlocks advanced combat training, which is really nice. It also unlocks luxurious supplies, which is also rock solid. Advanced tactics training for both barracks and conscription centers. And then mobilization options. I will actually fire up luxurious supplies. This is going to significantly increase the cost of my armed forces, but it's worth it. It's worth it long term. And we were going to go after Kathiri. Alright, those are going to take a small amount of time, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Gantry cranes is spreading, and that's good. 318, so this should just about put me in the right amount of governance capacity. An Uzbek National Awakening. Exciting. Now, I sure am spending a lot of stuff on suppressing movements. My radical movement's pretty strong, which I don't love. Do they care about slavery? They don't. Alright. We'll increase home affairs. Well, this provides coup resistance as well. Excellent. Oh, it just lists the amount here. That's nice. That's very good. I would love to increase the overall level of Social Security, but I don't think I can afford it. Ooh, law progressed to amendment right away. Now, I can negotiate here with the industrialists. This would be interesting. Would it be worth having them be strong? So the real question is how young is their leader? He's 41. An experienced entrepreneur and wrathful. So they're very happy with the state of the situation right now. They're going to ultimately go down to a level point of +8. You have some timed modifiers in there. I don't think it's worth it. I don't need elected bureaucrats that badly. Truth be told. Where the radical movement, where are you going to go to? You're going to go to... You're predicted to drift towards 52%. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. What I really would like to get is standard of living moving up. So let's work on that some. I need more silk. I have plenty of silk production capacity. I need more groceries. And I need more glass. So let's do a little... Let's at least produce more silk. Let me see. I got silk and fars. That is a good place to produce additional silk. How much silk am I producing? Quite a bit. But three plants. Actually, I'm going to produce one more silk plantation, and that should be fine. Now, I was going to look into taking some shots at the... Why can't I conquer them? Because relations are too good. Ooh. I should have paid more attention to that. Now, I could invade Lahej. They're doing okay. They don't have any problematic relationships. So let's see. 7.4 to annex or to conquer. Nobody likely to 7 except for the Ottoman. So let's get started here. Now, I don't need to activate anything. I've got a very reasonably sized navy for this task. I could use more navy for this, but I don't need it. I don't need it. A modernist revolt in the Xinjiang clique. Now, this is an interesting option. The Xinjiang clique does have a yes they would yes me for. But is it vassalization? Because that's the thing I want. It's not. Tragedy. Tragedy. An absolute tragedy is what that is. How's Great Britain in here? That's ridiculous. What are you doing over there, Great Britain? That's not Britain. They came in on this side, because they can't come in any of these other ways because of the... Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name of this mountain range. This is a huge mountain range. Oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. This is the Himalayas, I'm pretty sure. Ugh. My geography has gotten rusty. I'll tell you what. Ottoman Empire declares neutrality. That's just fine. I don't need to concern myself with that whatsoever. Marina Kingdom is going up in friendship and going down in liberty desire, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. Red tape. The civil service, currently led by the landowners, are deliberately stalling the government by creating unnecessary paperwork. They demand that their jobs be protected under elected bureaucrats. I'd be happy to assist, but unfortunately this requisition form has only been stamped twice. You'll have to file a complaint with the regional ombudsman, who is currently very busy optimizing our new filing system. You can expect a prompt response within 6 to 8 months. Current civil servants can keep their positions. Preserved bureaucratic class is added to elected bureaucrats. Increased political strength for the landowners. The secret police will keep them in line. Reduced enactment success chance and reduced bureaucracy. Or use this opportunity to train their replacements. Reduced bureaucracy, increased enactment time, increased success chance, but 1 setback. Ooh, this is an interesting... I think I'm going to go with this third one. I'm okay with the setback. We're doing okay, and we got a little bit of enactment time out of it, so that's enactment chance out of it, so that's all right. All right, we're getting there. It's getting to be war o'clock. So, let's go ahead and mobilize the lads. We'll get them moving to Persia, to the Arabian Peninsula. Do you think you could maybe go to the other side of the impassable zone here? You think you could maybe go closer to the place you're gonna have to be located in? Please, maybe just a little bit closer. Somewhere you'll be able to do the thing you want to do to invade the country I am asking you to invade. Ooh, Ionian Islands improving relations. That's interesting. That's an interesting animal right there. Making excellent progress on recognition. I'm feeling very pleased about that. And here is the war team, which is just fine. We will go ahead and plan our naval invasion. We're going to suffer reduced efficiency, but I'm not really concerned about that. I could start conquering bits of Egypt. That would be interesting. The Russian-American rivalry has ended. That's interesting. Now again, actually, oh man, look at all this. Hold on. Okay, so Spain is going for a protectorate over Sardinia-Piedmont. Spain has France, the Ottoman, and an assortment of other smaller countries on their side, including Moldavia. Looks like Egypt in her protectorates. No. French Senegal, Moldavia. Well, Hejaz is in there, so Egypt's got to be in there, right? No, I guess not. Alright, and then on the other side, we have Sardinia-Piedmont aligned with Russia, Austria, and the United States, which is really interesting. France wants the return of Savoia. The Ottomans and the Russians, the Ottomans want the return of Russian Dobruja. And then on the other side here, the United States wants to enforce investment rights in the Philippines, Russia investment rights in French Niger, and Austria investment rights in Puerto Rico. So it's interesting. France and the Ottoman Empire are very confident. But with the United States on the other side, that seems like a big mistake. In any case, now is a fantastic time to go after the Ottoman. Even though they got help from the British, because maybe I can get them to just sort of collapse before anything... No, that's not going to work. If I think I can do it without the British, then fine. But otherwise, it's not going to be... That's not going to be useful. Making good progress in here. Making good progress in here in our naval invasion in Yemen. I've got... I've run myself out of bureaucracy again. Why do I keep doing this to myself? Oh, right, because of that thing. Alright. Because of the event. The event that you all just saw. I'm not dumb. Okay, Fergana, Uzbekia, Khwarezmia, and Baluchistan once again. Just going to build up a little more governance capacity to make sure I don't goober myself with my, with low governance capacity. Exile from Serbia, interesting. Ooh, law progressed to voting, wonderful. We'll see what happens with this. Piedmont might still back down. There's Yemen sorted out. Now, I still can't make war on Kathiri just yet. Relations are still too good. Oh, wow. Going after the Qasimid state would generate a huge amount of infamy. So I don't want to do that just yet. Instead, a return state on Basra would still bring in Britain. I would not be able to bring in the French Republic because they've got a truce. And they're... Oh, wait. Oh, no. They would still definitely be brought in on this because they've got... The join for a war goal thing would still bring them in. So we'll leave that be for now. I still have a dream of going after the Ottoman. But we'll see if this war happens. An absent mind. There have been reports of Moin-ed-Din Farhani, leader of the petite bourgeoisie, not attending meetings or fulfilling his obligations. We can no longer ignore his absence. Farhani barely even responds when we call his name. A blank stare. He almost doesn't blink. Let's go for a walk, we'd tell him, and he nods in silence, and in silence we walk. A doctor needs to see him. He loses his psychological affliction, or loses popularity, or he can get the help he needs in an asylum. He dies, reduced interest group approval. So that's interesting. They're marginalized right now. He is currently a radical. Interesting. I don't mind having them be marginalized. His psychological affliction is reducing his popularity, though, which is having an overall negative effect on the strength of the petite bourgeoisie. Ooh, decisions. You know, we'll cycle him out. Get the help he needs in an asylum. So who do we have heading up the petite bourgeoisie now? This guy, a moderate, Masoud Sadegh. Alright, well, we'll see if that changes anything. Alright. Ahmad Qajar retires, so we need a new admiral. Huh. Alright, well, let's go with Murad Qajar. He's a Shia Ulema guy. So that's ultimately going to be very good. Let's give him a lot of promotions. There we go. Perfect. A very sensible naval policy, if I do say so myself. Alright. Still working on damaging relations with Kathiri. And their steel railway cars. Wonderful. Can I give you some more something? I can't. You're not doing super hot, Metalworks Consortium. I'm very sad about that. But let's go ahead and swap over to steam trains. It'll be better. You just think it won't. And steel passenger cars. And that'll make our railways much more profitable. So, from here, ever-increasing influence. Members of the Persian-British Fellowship Committee have discreetly dispatched one of their members to amplify their mission in Persia's most widely read newspaper. The Persian-British-French Committee has calculated, with utmost mastery, the dissemination of materials to secure a foothold in both the political world and the public's imagination. With great satisfaction, all obvious comments, there is no denying the number and reach of newspapers is ever expanding. This approach is sure to reach influential lawmakers to favor our scheme. This sets a bad precedent, salty Shia Ulema, or this is ingenious. Increase appeasement, but reduce legitimacy. I'm going to say it sets a bad precedent. Sorry, Shia Ulema. I'm trying to do right by you just as well as I can, but it's hard. It's hard. Ooh, liberal revolt in Egypt. Now that's interesting. If I could get a vassal out of this, I would be very pleased. Very, very pleased. There's human rights. Wonderful. So this unlocks compulsory primary school, which I would like to get. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do it now while the industrialists are in the government, though. Now that the Ottoman is at war, Britain's still at 0. They'd be willing to fight me at the same time as this. Oh no, because they're not themselves in this big war, right? Yeah, they're not. They're not in this big war. Gosh dang it! And they're allied with the Germans, who are the North German Federation, but not Germany for some reason because of Hamburg. That can't be right. Oh my gosh, the Russians have got a hold of Hamburg. Diplomatic ties with the United States of America. Don't mind if I do. Let's be better friends, America. We're natural allies, really. Alright, so, this thing. Would either of you like to be my subject? No. Sad. Sad, really. Well, radical revolt it is, then. Come on, give me elected bureaucrats. Oh, and an uprising in Kordofan at the same time. Oh man, that's good. This sounds pretty tough for you, Egypt. Lost stalled, minus 15%. That's okay. These things happen. Not too worried. I'm already on the 3rd phase. All right. We're at 35 for Kathiri. Let's go ahead and go after the Kazimid state. This is really a comical amount of... Are you guys, like, way stronger than I... No, you're really not. Oh, interesting. So if I went for a transfer of the Hejaz from the Ottoman Empire, Britain wouldn't necessarily step in, which is interesting. Oh, that's France. France for Hejaz, but it's not. That's not, I think this is. I think this is fake because the Ottoman Empire would be our actual enemy. I think. Wouldn't it? I don't know. I might be able to get away with this weird nonsense. They'd be a lot more likely to be on my side, which would be exciting. Okay, so if I go for Hejaz, Jebel Shamar, and maybe a bunch of territory in here, that might be extreme. I might not be able to make this happen. But it would be bananas if I could. Okay, no, it has to be the Hejaz. It can't be Jebel Shamar. Alright. I would love to take a conquer war goal on Yemen, but I don't want to do that right now. I'm about to accrue a lot of infamy. This might be a giant risk, but we'll see. We'll see if I'm making a ginormous mistake. So, hit the transfer subject button. They will not accept. I think I can win this. I am going to mobilize everybody. I'm going to put the primary army on this front, secondary army on this front, tertiary army on this front. And I'm going to add in some war goals here. I want to seize Jebel Shamar. Okay, so they're over here. Now Britain's at -4. Okay, all right. So that was fake. That was fake. That was fake, and I'm making a huge mistake, probably. How big is Britain's army? It's pretty large. I think this is probably only going to work if Britain just doesn't intervene at all in any way that matters. Which they are almost assuredly going to do if I add a bunch of war goals. They have a revoke claim on Ayrum, which I really dislike. I can't back down right now. But revoke claim on Ayrum is not a bad problem. It will make it harder to take Ayrum later. With Britain moderately likely to step in, though, I'm gonna be reasonable. I want to grab Jebel Shamar. Do I want to also grab one of these states, Tigray? I don't think so. And I think I want to do a return on Mosul. This will keep me just below 25 infamy. I would love to grab Basra, but I'm gonna be infamous if I do that. So, return Mosul, and obviously I'm gonna be paying a huge amount for this. Revoke claim war goal added. All right, so they're going for revokes. And Britain no longer has any interest in helping me with this, so that's a shame. So I think if Britain steps in, we bail. I think that's the answer on this situation. Okay, things are... Japan sides with the Ottoman Empire. Hold on. Excuse me? What's going on with you, Japan? You do not have that much of an army. Okay, that... I don't think that actually changes anything, because this is not much of an army. You have the ability to mobilize something of an army, but you've got a lot of irregular infantry in there, my guy. And, I'm not too worried about this. I may end up bailing out. This might be just a giant mistake. Tomorrow damaging relations, okay, not a big deal. Again, it's really Britain that I'm concerned about. British Africa, improving relations. Now there's an interesting potential outcome here. What are these fronts merged? These fronts are merged. Alright. Spain sides with the Ottoman Empire. And I still don't have anyone I can bring in. Argentina is going to get in on this. Let me take a look at Spain. Are you in the middle of this other war? You certainly are. Alright, so hopefully you will... they've got a lot of units. They've got a lot of units, and they're all available. Yeah, I'm going to bail out on this. Okay, so not this time. I'm going to lose my claim in Erzurum. That's okay. Sometimes you swing and you miss. Alright. Yeah, I got an army taking attrition, wandering through uncontrolled territory. So, once I get Kathiri below 23 relations, below 20 relations, I'll be able to go after them, and that'll be interesting. Hey, you win a few, you lose a few. Now, what if I go east instead? I did want to go after Pashtunistan and Quetta. There's a lot of Pashto people in that area, and they're very highly accepted in our country. So it's sensible territory to take. But that having been said, I do want to continue conquering the rest of the Arabian Peninsula. Maybe I'll just take a little time for my reputation to get better, and then worry about it. How am I doing with my institutions? Alright, we're up to level 2 for home affairs. A set... that sucks. Alright, that's okay though. This could end up being fine. Trade unions and rural folk are both very unhappy right now. I got a lot of radicals. It's partially because I got a lot of radicals. Alright, let's do some economic development, shall we? Need a lot more engines. Where are my motor industries currently located? Oh, right. I need to reset production methods in the newly conquered territory. Alright, now, yes, I was looking into motor industries. Let's build up a couple of levels. That should cover what I need for... to get this number looking better. I still need more glass. I'm doing okay for for ceramics. So let's build up. We'll do 2 levels in Baluchistan. We need about a 40% increase from a glass perspective. Let's do 1 level in Isfahan and 1 level in Khorasan, and that should be fine in terms of glass. From here, we're doing okay on steel. Need a little bit more lead, need a little bit more wood, but how are we doing for hardwood? We're doing okay for hardwood. So let's go ahead and improve wood production. Sorry, just closing this. Oh, I've got a new method available for coffee plantations. Wet process, manual. No, that's not going to be better. Logging camps. Let's build up Mazandaran. Let's do a big ol' increase in Mazandaran. Alright. That should be more than enough. Might not be, actually. No, it should be. It should be. It's about a 1/6 increase, and that's about as much as we need. Now, we need more luxury clothes and clothes. So, let's go to... Oh, I've got covered markets available. But that'll take more glass, so I'm going to wait on that for now. Let me see. Textile mills were pretty good. Need about a 25% increase. So that's really only a few levels. We'll do 2 in Kandahar, 1 in Herat, and 1 in Iraqi Ajami, and that'll be just over a 25% increase. From there, we need more lead. That's something I need to look into. But not by that much. We'll just throw a couple levels in Tabriz, and that'll be fine. And then what else? What else? What else? Everything else is looking pretty good. Yeah, everything else is looking pretty alright. So we'll do that. Oh, I need more food industries. That's the other thing I need. So, we'll go ahead, we'll build 1 level in Hazaristan and 3 levels in Fars. And that'll be just fine. Alright, that's a nice rock-solid economic development plan. That'll take... I'll need to take on some significant debt to make that happen. But it'll be worth it in the long run. Because it'll improve the size of the economy, which is pretty reasonably sized at present. Although it's not as big as we need it to be, because we need to keep it in the top 10 to continue having our our recognition, to continue having it count for our recognition. All right, now Kathiri, my man, 6.8 infamy to conquer. Nobody will stop me. Let's do it. Obviously, I'm costing myself a lot of money here. Shouldn't have mobilized already. That was dumb. It is what it is. I may be dumb. I've been dumb in the past, and I will be dumb in the future. That's right. France is right here. Ooh, and a Afar National Awakening in Gondar. That's fun. So Egypt has lost its revolution. So that means the radical revolt will become the new Egypt. Meritocracy. A new guard of petite bourgeoisie bureaucrats are outshining landowners in every aspect of their work. This is a very encouraging omen for the efficacy of elected bureaucrats. They think that just because they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth that they deserved the most important positions. But their privilege and entitlement make them lazy, nepotistic, and arrogant. We, by contrast, have had to work for all we have, and there are real consequences for failure. Advancement should be based only on merit, not on birth. Clearly, elected bureaucrats is the correct policy. Increased enactment success chance. The landowners have done a shoddy job. They get weaker, 10% enactment success chance instead of 20. Or encourage the petite bourgeoisie to join the civil service. They get stronger, 10% enactment success chance instead of 20. I'm just going to go with the enactment success chance. I think that's fine. I think there's no reason to be increasing the strength of the petite bourgeoisie any more than I need to in these complicated times. We are really experiencing some construction efficiency reductions that I dislike, and mostly that's due to turmoil. This huge pile of radicals is not going anywhere, and I wish I didn't have it, but them's the breaks. The only way to break out of that is to keep our economy growing fast and furious. And there's Egypt once again. So, their attitude is cooperative. I can improve relations with them. It wouldn't take much. Let's do it. Let's do it. They don't have anything I want to take right now. This war is still going on. Although, some powers seem to have left. So the primaries on this side are the Americans, which is interesting. But Sardinia and Piedmont are still in there. Okay, so they lost and became a subject of Spain. So now they're on the other side. I don't know. This whole situation seems weird. Oh no, there's a different thing happening. Spain and France are going after a 2-out uprising. Okay, that's nothing. That's nothing. Eye of the Needle. The Shia Ulema are dissatisfied with the inclusion of the industrialists in the Persian government. Why must you do this? You say that anyone can attain wealth with enough skill, hard work, and a bit of good fortune. No need then for virtue or faith as long as you have faith in yourself. What do those who pass that bar have in common besides greed and a love for material things? Judge not lest you be judged, salty Shia Ulema. The power of money must be kept in check, salty industrialists. Or prosperity and charity should be companions, not enemies. Reduced authority. Urgh. You know, I can't sacrifice what? I can't benefit the industrialists over the Shia Ulema just because I like their bonus better. The industrialists are going to have to step aside, and the Shia Ulema are going to take center stage. It's just going to have to be how it is. Alright, there's our war with Kathiri. This should be really quick. And then eventually we'll go after the Qazimid state. But I do also want to go after Afghanistan because I want Quetta. I want Quetta, and I also want Pashtunistan. Sorry, I made a really weird noise with my throat, and I apologize for those of you. My mouth keeps making noises. I don't know what to tell you. It always do be like that. Okay, we're back into the top 10 GDP-wise, which is very good. And that's Kathiri sorted. So, reset production methods once again. The bureaucratic struggle. Debate. Our efforts to pass the elected bureaucrats law have run into several classic bureaucratic hurdles. Debates rage around such lofty matters as the correct shape of the filing cabinets. Good, fast, cheap, you get two. Spare no expense. Reduce bureaucracy, reduce enactment time, increase success chance. This will take as long as it takes. Increase bureaucracy, increase success chance, increase enactment time. Or let's just get it over with. Reduce enactment time, increase bureaucracy, reduce success chance. I'm going to pick the middle one. This will take as long as it takes. I always do that. Enactment time is very rarely something that's not worth sacrificing. Alright, Yemen is still in the process of being incorporated. Population here is quite low. The engines of progress. The manufacture of steam engines has become a profitable industry in Iraqi Ajami thanks to a sound investment in locomotive technology. These engines are already being employed across new Persian railway lines. All aboard for Barfurush, courtesy of the good folks at the Tehran Steam Locomotive Company. Getting out of Tehran has never been easier. The dining car is restricted to first-class passengers only. Stowaways will be prosecuted. All aboard. Extra railways throughput for the entire country for 5 years, or more engines, more locomotives, extra motor industries throughput for Iraqi Ajami for 5 years. Gonna go with that second one. I rarely find railway throughput to be something that I'm hurting for. I'm already paying way more in interest than I would like to be. This sucks. My finances are in a really rough place, friends. It just is what it is. Again, once I'm recognized, this will really, really help. I'm at a really rock-solid spot in the prestige rankings, so I will become a GP at that time, and that will be really, really, really good. But for the moment, I simply must be what I am. Oh my goodness, there's a socialist revolt in Russia. I bet nothing will come of this. If I were an absolute mad cat, I would take this as an opportunity to go after them. Whilst they're in the middle of 2 other wars, even. Including this big one. Oh, man. But relations are cordial. They're damaging them. Oh, man. The temptation is so large, my nerds. It's crazy how large the temptation is. I could also not take over Qasimid State. The rest of Yemen is... Or, no, hold on. This is Yemen. This is all Yemen. Alright, never mind. The rest of Yemen is held by the Hejaz, and I do want to keep that. I am a little bit short on authority at this time. I'm going to have to cut a consumption tax. I don't wish to cut a consumption tax. My absolutist movement is still agitating. I do want to continue to suppress my pro-slavery movement. Communist revolt in Greece. That's interesting. Okay, I might have to leave my authority where it is for now, because I love having heckin' consumption taxes. I just love them. Repeaters, wonderful. So we will get our arms industries producing repeaters. They're just pretending they're not going to be profitable. It's fine. Alright. Am I producing more glass? Didn't I produce a bunch more, glassworks? Are they profitable? They're not as profitable. How are they not profitable? Ridiculous. What is happening here? Okay, actually, no. Here's what we'll do. We'll go and we'll enable the new urban center production method. Where are they? Where are my urban centers? Don't tell me my urban centers are urban buildings. They are. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm big dumb. That'll create some demand for glass. Alright. And now we have bureaucratic imbroglio, a stall event. Lawmakers working towards the enactment of elected bureaucrats have found themselves mired in a particularly complex set of bureaucratic proceedings, grinding the work towards the reform to a near halt. The fully developed bureaucratic apparatus compares with other organizations exactly as does the machine with the non-mechanical modes of production. That is to say, the teeth of its individual gears meet in accord, or its gears will gnash and churn until it eventually breaks. Damn this labyrinthine legal system, reduce enactment success chance, increase enactment time, or cut through at least some of the red tape, reduce bureaucracy, increase enactment time. 10% of bureaucrats in Iraqi Ajami become more radical. I'm going to go with that second one. I think that just makes sense. It's fine. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Am I improving the size of my economy? I sure heckin' hope so. It's going up a lot. My investment pool is continuing to increase in size, but it's not able to operate continuously. I am getting to a kind of a dangerous point with interest. So I may need to pause government well, actually, here's what I'll do. I'll cut these food industries, and then oh my gosh, a coup happened in Egypt immediately after the revolution. Egypt, oh, weird. I thought they were going to be an autocracy. Still, things are getting weird over there, Egypt. Oh my goodness, Russia immediately crushed their socialist revolt. That's wild. That other war is still running. Oh, I wonder if Austria bailed out of it. Yeah, Austria bailed out of it. So it's just America and Russia against Spain and France. Interesting. And now we're still making good progress on recognition. All of this is going to be easier once we're recognized, my nerds. You're going to be blown away by how much easier this is. I can found myself one of those things. It'll be great. How much for Quetta? 21 infamy. I gotta wait a little longer. How much for Afghanistan State? Not as much. Or Pashtunistan, really. I'd love to take both. But that's going to be time. Ooh! Ooh! East Indian Liberal Revolt. Oh, this is the big one. I was like, why can't I get involved? It's because I can't get involved. Well, this is exciting. If the East India Liberal Revolt kicks off and becomes a real thing, I'll be I'll be very pleased. Now, are you India? Yes, you're India, as opposed to the Dominion, which is English. So this is gonna be exciting. I hope they win. It seems like they're losing, but I hope they win. Because it sure would be cool for the British to be the heck out of India. Should I improve relations? I'm going to improve relations with them. I'm going to stop improving relations with Egypt. I don't think I need to improve relations with Egypt. And I want to keep this infamy decay because I like conquering stuff, my nerds. It's just, I see land and I eat it. I'm on a sea land diet. The Barfurush Advocate, an explicitly partisan newspaper founded by members of the absolutist movement in Barfurush, has published its first issue. Between advertisements and political cartoons, it hosts a ruthless critique of government policy. There was a certain brilliance to it. By printing it on the cheapest paper, by skimping on ink, by flooding it with advertisements and large text, one could produce a profitable paper for only a penny per copy, whilst its competitors sold for 5 to 10 times that amount. By making that paper relentlessly and shamelessly endorse a certain viewpoint, one could have every working person in the city aware of it by evening. If one's competitors refused to stoop that low, they would become responsible for their own suffocation. How long can a partisan paper last? Increased attraction for the absolutist movement? Or is that so, deny them a printing license, they get weaker but increased activism? I'm going to go with weaker but increased activism because I can take a little bit more activism from them, but I want them to be weaker. Gosh dang, radical movement's going up to... continuing to increase in radicalism, which I don't love. Law advancement. Well, elected bureaucrats sure is taking a lot longer than I was originally hoping it would. We're chipping away at our at these costs here. All right, so that's those finished out. We're now pretty well in the black financially. Our GDP is continuing to increase in size. It's not increasing as much as I would like to, but it is increasing. Alright, so we're rocking hand-cranked machine gun at the present time. After that, we're going to finish out... yeah, gantry... enlistment offices. Where's... oh, here. Yeah, so we're bashing our way forward through the military stuff. Oh my gosh, we need more universities. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I need more universities. By a lot, too. This is gonna be... oh my goodness. Market access in Yemen is borked. That's okay. I've got a railway. I just need to subsidize it, and then they'll be fine. Uh-oh. All play and no work. General Reza Al-Amir... he's a Shiite aligned with the armed forces. His personal habits are starting to get in the way of his role as a general. Reza Al-Amir smiles at the officer, exultantly, avidly. His eyes have obviously seen better days. Carefully recumbent on his leather armchair, his voice comes out as rubbery as the material. It's a stressful job, you know. No need to make it even more stressful. Fire him? He's fired. Or he's too valuable. Reduce morale damage. Reza Amir. You're in the Second Army. Who would we replace you with? I got a Shia Ulema guy. Fire him. I've got Shia Ulema guys in the First Army. Yeah. So, Abu Qasim Hadayat, you're hired. And you're promoted. You're brave, you're a defensive strategist, you're great. You're exactly what the Persian Empire needs. Industrialists petition government. Representing his constituents in the industrialists, Naser ad-Din Ansari has issued a formal petition to the Persian government to pass no migration controls. Oh, that's going to piss off a lot of people. One last matter for the day, sir. Members of your constituency arrived this morning. They're asking rather loudly and insistently if you would meet with them about the new legislation. Oh, is that it? Goodness, you look as if you've seen a ghost. I'm sure I can spare the last hours of the light for them, can't I? I believe so, sir. They were not taking no for an answer. We'll see what we can do. So that's accept the government petition, offer them laissez-faire as a compromise, or they must understand the present situation doesn't allow for this. So laissez-faire. Laissez-faire would meet with a lot of resistance. How would it look? Landowners mad, trade unions mad, rural folk mad, but nobody else. I'm going to offer them laissez-faire as a compromise. In any case, this is going to make elected bureaucrats go faster, and I'm hoping that works. Come on, East Indian Liberal Revolt, you can do it. You can beat those Brits, I know you can. I can't do anything to help you, but you can beat him. Do we have another general retire? No, we had the leader of the Learning Council retire. So we got our traditionalist in there. That's fine. That's not any different from where we would expect to be. Falling in line. The intelligentsia, prominent supporters of the Revival Party, have proposed... Are we in an election? Maybe not. Supporters of the Revival Party have promised support for the Persian-British Friendship Committee to be a component of the official party platform. I've considered the risks, and I'm willing to push it forwards. The fact of the matter is that voters do not and have never cared for anything outside of our borders. Even if the climate shifts heavily against Great Britain in the coming months, we may still run on our internal policy without compromising our more wide-ranging principles. I see the rationale. Nevertheless, I would like to know more before committing to a side. The stance our nation takes must not be informed by the whims of ideologues, but rather hard necessity. The party stands together on this. The trade unions join the committee, and be accused of foreign puppeteering, weaker intelligentsia. I'm going to go with that second one. The intelligentsia generally oppose the Shia Ulema in most things, and I don't want to deal with that. Now, we've hit 169. We've got 31 left, so that's 11 more months. So we're hurtling towards achieving recognition. We'll achieve recognition before the end of 1900, and that's going to make things a whole ton easier for us. Would it be insane if I said I wanted to continue growing the economy? A little bit, but I still kind of want to do it. Still need to increase the size of the food industries. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and do it. It's not, we're not that far in the black, or in the red rather. Being negative is in the red, being positive is in the black. Okay, so we're hey, there's elected bureaucrats. Wonderful. Okay, so that's not what I wanted. Okay, so apparently we were spending a lot more bureaucracy on population than on institutions, which, you know, I've been dumb before and I will be dumb again later. So, I was going to... Oh, I can't get rid of slave trade right now, because nobody in the government wants to get rid of slave trade. And can I get anyone who wants to get rid of slave trade in the government? I could, but let's be reasonable. So, laissez-faire. This is going to affect my movements. It's going to affect my absolutist movement. They'll go to protesting. That's not ideal. But I think it's worth it. Now, I do have some negotiation options. The trade unions and the rural folk. Neither of them are people I desire too much to negotiate with at present. I have a lot of opposition here. But really, I only need to wait out... the petition. If they get a little mad because I don't manage to make it happen, that's okay. Alright, so they're job created and they're happy now. Are Shia Ulema upset about this? They're not. They're not. They're fine. They're just being silly. Alright. Oh, actually, my cash flow situation is being kind of borked because of my lack of government sectors. So I need to work on that. Let's go to development. I'm going to go by taxation capacity once again. I'm going to put these in the top: Fergana, Mazandaran, Tabriz, and Kabulistan. Actually, I need a few more than that. So, we'll go with Fars, Baluchistan, Kurdistan, and southern Turkestan. Why these ones? Okay, that's weird. I might not need all of these. I'll build 5. Maybe I won't need 5. This is weird. This number continually going up. Okay, hold on. This is so strange. I do want a few more government sectors, though. Azerbaijani National Movement organizes in Iraqi Ajami. Organizers affiliated with the Azerbaijani National Movement have embarked on a focused campaign to inspire support for racial segregation in Iraqi Ajami. Residents of every region in the world like to say that their home has a long and unique history of tight-knit community. The organizer almost agreed. The problem was, of course, that said community often did not extend to outsiders. He'd been thrown out on his ear more times than he could count, but he persisted nonetheless. If he could introduce the right phrase into the right circles, perhaps even an idea that had been rejected out of hand at first would begin to find purchase. There are plenty of willing ears in Iraqi Ajami, stronger Azerbaijani national movement. Fine with them being a little stronger. Increased political strength and radicals from political movements, or they must be concerned with far more grounded things. The movement does not become stronger. Universal political strength and radicals from political movements are still increased, but only by half as much. I'm going to go with that second one. I don't want a national movement. So quite a few of these movements would prefer... Okay, interesting. So many of them would prefer... So the Azerbaijani movement would prefer racial segregation. The Mashriki and Hazaran movements would prefer cultural exclusion. And the Turkmen and Uzbek movements... Oh boy, the absolutists are revolting. That's not great, friends. I thought I had gotten this situation handled. Well, I'm sorry, industrialists. I may need to goof ya. I may need to just goof ya. This might have been a mistake. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let's negotiate with the rural folk and see if we can pull them out of the rebellion. After several rounds of terse correspondence, the rural folk have met with the Ayatollah's representatives and outlined their demands. All legislation, all government, all society is founded upon the principle of mutual concession, politeness, comity, courtesy. Upon these, everything is based. Let him who elevates himself above humanity, above its weaknesses, its infirmities, its wants, its necessities, say, if he pleases, I will never compromise. But let no one who is not above the frailties of our common nature disdain compromise. Vow to pass closed borders next. Interesting. I don't want that. We must invest in staple crops. So it'll require me to build 90 levels of crops. Or let's add some fine print about political concessions. I'm going to add political concessions. That's fine. I can handle stronger rural folk. Alright, so they're no longer opposed. And that means they should bail out of this movement. Shouldn't they? Leave the movement. Leave the movement. I think that was dumb. I think I may have made a boo-boo. I think I may have made a error. I think the answer might be I'm going to need to simply allow my industrialists to be really, really pissed. Okay, we got a new election running. Let's let a week go by to sick leave. Gosh dang it. Alright, first, the election. Okay, Revival Party still strong. Society for Progress very strong. This is the rural folk and the armed forces. Interesting. Free Trade Party is significantly lower momentum. Curious. Learning Council's taken a hit, but it's not so bad. So Society for Progress, this is very interesting. Society for Progress with the Armed Forces and Rural Folk. I can live with that. It's going to be a little bit tough. But let's talk about sick leave. A lengthy speech by Mohammed Bouzadjahmehri took a wild turn after consuming a tainted drink. With his incapacitation, the government has lost one of its most effective advocates for laissez-faire. A page was dispatched shortly after the speech began, and he arrived with a sandwich and the fateful drink. Everyone in the audience could see the long-winded speech had become a battle to put down a revolting stomach. Indeed, had the speech stopped, the speaker's dignity would have ended with it. Had it not stopped then, the people might have demanded an assassin's head. Wish him a speedy recovery, reduced enactment success chance. 2% of industrialists, member pops become more loyalist. He loses some popularity. Scour the vicinity for any assassin on the double. He becomes wounded. Increased popularity, survived assassination, and success chances reduced by, but not by as much. I'm kind of okay if this stalls out. I would like loyalists among the industrialists. I'll go with the first one. This might seem counterintuitive. I've got the right result event again. I'm actually going to say the elections must be free again, because I really do want to keep moving towards a tradition of free elections. That's a very good thing to have long term. Sadly, the Dominion of India has remained strong. A radical expansion has remained English. The ideas of the Revival Party have been raising interest throughout the country, leading to political turmoil. So again, this is still the trade unions and the intelligentsia. They've got a lot of momentum, I will say that. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet depreciate agitation are people who want crops without plowing the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the roar of its many waters. And they should expand further. 2% of pops in Uzbekia become more loyal, extra momentum. Or they're compromising the unity of Persia. Intelligentsia is salty. Reduce momentum. I'm going to reduce their momentum. I don't wish the Revival Party to be stronger. I'm up the industrialists. It would be really funny if the industrialists became marginalized this election and then I didn't even need to worry about this. Ooh, I have more people I can negotiate with. I can negotiate with the landowners. That would be nutty. I'm not going to do that. That would be so nutty. I'm not going to do it. No one likes a good pistachio as much as I do, but I refuse to go entirely nut-based. Nice. GDP is continuing to increase. We're really close to recognition now. I think we got 3 more months. Speaking on speech. Today's speech from Naser Tabrizi focused on the right of assembly and the efforts of the Society for Progress to secure it. A crowd is flocked from all corners to hear it. No true discussion may be had while the law binds us to silence. How is it that we may call ourselves great and enlightened whilst we fear reprisal from the law itself? And for what? Our very words? Great and enlightened. A falsehood, I say. A lie, a travesty, a shameful display. Naser Tabrizi has a point. Extra momentum for the Society for Progress. Okay, that might be work. It might work. Fetch the pen and ink. There's a law to draft. Increase radical movement. But not as much momentum for them. Or those who wish to speak should know how and when first. Reduce momentum for them, and also 5% of petite bourgeoisie pops in Baluchistan become more radical. I'm going to go with the first one. I'm happy with the Society for Progress getting a little progress. They're currently insurrectionary, but, you know, maybe they won't be for too much longer. Again, if the Free Trade Party are completely goobered in the election, then this business is not going to matter. And I can just bail on laissez-faire completely. Now, I'm still working on these industries. Production and agitation. In collaboration with the Revival Party, Mozzafer ad-Din Ansari has secured a deal for cheap and quickly distributed pamphlets in support of the party. So again, not the Society for Progress, the Revival Party. The interior of the carriage held a pleasant surprise. A crate of several thousand pamphlets, printed on an industrial scale, each with instructions on the voting process and a cheaply copied logo of the Revival Party. They made a hefty weight, and he hoped would turn out to be an equally sized benefit. Bury our opponents in a sea of paper, extra momentum for them by 20%, or these conditions could be used later. He becomes ambitious, and 10% momentum instead. I'm going to do the second one, because I don't want them to have a bunch of extra momentum. Come on, give me an event to benefit my freaking, my Shia Ulema. Our king is now 68. I'm very curious as to what happens when he passes away. Stay hydrated, kids. Who's fighting over what? The Ottoman are going after the Bulgarians. This is interesting. Hold on here. This is something I could involve myself in. Who are allegiances? The British are likely to align with the Ottomans, but not that likely. The Austrians are more likely to align with the Bulgarians. I don't see anyone stepping up for the Ottomans. What would be acceptable here? They would become a subject. That's interesting. Temptation size large. But what I really want is a war goal, a return state war goal on Basra is really what I desire more than anything else. I would love to have a subject in Europe, though. This would be pretty good. Their GDP is moderate. Let's wait. Let's wait and watch. If Britain declares neutrality, we'll step in. Friends abroad. While campaigning for additional support, Mohammed Bouzajoumehri pointed to Tungi as an example of how the Free Trade Party would strengthen foreign ties. The essence of trade is simple. One party has something the other party needs, and will give it on the basis of mutual exchange. Most commonly, a book for a book, a meal for a meal, a favor for a favor. Less commonly, and arguably more perilous, is the trade by which nations make human life for material wealth, otherwise known as economics. So, this is interesting. Our options are: we welcome our friends from Tungi, increase momentum of the free traders, increases relations. He must have a factory there, reduces momentum for the free traders, and he gains some popularity. Or, if Bouzajoumehri loves Tungi so much he should live there, 70% chance he gets salty, 20% chance he gets increased momentum, 10% chance he gets exiled. I'm just going to go with the middle one. Reduced momentum for the free traders is fine with me. In fact, is more than fine. I'd be delighted with it. Because if they can get marginalized, then they'll be out of my politics, and that'll make me very pleased. Okay, we got a lot of events popping off here. The Kabulistan Workers' Brigades. Armed workers affiliated with the intelligentsia's progressive faction have volunteered to assist government forces in countering reactionary forces that would threaten Persia. One by one they took up the gun, father and son, and lo, under a sky without a sun, another page of history comes as yet more blood runs. We will need all the support we can get. Increased progress for the revolution. Intelligentsia becomes stronger. Increased offense and defense in the state. 5% of intelligentsia member pops become more loyalist. Or demand this organization disarm at once. Saltier and weaker intelligentsia. 5% of them become more radical, but increased progress by 10%. I'm going to do the second one, actually. The minor interest. Regardless of the governing caucus's stance, the fiercest debates on laissez-faire come from these two: the rural folk and populace stirred by Mohammed Buzar Jamehri's movement. The end is nowhere in sight. And that movement is the liberal movement. He's an industrialist guy. Once in a blue moon, the government sees an issue to appease an ally or placate an enemy. Invariably, it crosses someone else's line. Some might call enemy of my enemy and expect an alliance of convenience. Others, often rightly, demand a velveteen fist. Let them bicker. 33% chance one side gets stronger, the other gets weaker. 33% chance lower start and pops become more radical. Take advantage of populist pressure. More active liberal movement. Weaker but angrier rural folk. Or back the rural folk, stronger and happier rural folk. Reduce liberal movement activism, but Buzar Jamehri loses popularity. I'm going to go with the third one. This is all benefits for us. Bail out of the revolution, please. Yes! Alright, beautiful. So that means this revolution is just going to be a much stronger, a much smaller area, which I'm very happy with. That's a good situation for us. God's will. Here we go. Mozzafer ad-Din Ayrum, leader of the Shia Ulema, has been seen preaching in favor of the Learned Council, convinced that their victory has been foreseen in Allah's plans. Do you think that Allah does not have a plan for our pious nation? Of course there's a plan. There must always be a plan. I've seen it myself, let me tell you, and I've seen it as clear as I see you all now, just before my eyes. And who else to lead this adrift government than those who can clearly read that plan? Who are we to stand in the way of Allah's will? Increased interest group strength for the Shia Ulema. Such a shame the nation is not ruled by Allah then. Dismissed speech for reduced popularity, but surely Allah wants the revival party to win. Extra momentum for the revival party. I'm going to do the first one. I wish I could get some momentum out of it, because momentum would be very, very good for my learned council, who are still pretty low in momentum, but overall very high capacity for winning elections. How's the situation? Okay. Great Britain's more and more leaning towards the Ottomans. I'm going to keep a closer eye on this stuff here, because I think I do genuinely very much... Beautiful. The Persian-Austrian Treaty of Commerce and Navigation. Signed this afternoon in Vienna, this landmark treaty officially abrogates any previous unequal treaties between Austria and Persia in favor of a new one negotiated between peers. The Ayatollah of Persia and the Emperor King of Austria, being equally desirous of maintaining the relations of good understanding which happily exists between them, by extending and increasing the intercourse between their respective states, and being convinced that this object cannot be accomplished than by revising the treaties hitherto existing between the two countries, have resolved to benefit such a revision based upon principles of equity and mutual benefit. A new dawn for Persia. Persia becomes recognized. Lovely. And we've become a great power. We're going to change rank in a second, but I want to keep an eye on this situation here. Alright, we are now in position 8. So, alright, and Britain has bailed out of this. So, I'm going to negotiate support. I'm going to go for a war goal. I'm going to go for a return state war goal. And we're going to get a lot less infamy for this. Let's go for... Before we do this... No, this is the best way to do this. Return state on Basra. Alright, beautiful. Soon we'll have our election. Get the lads together. This has also made our interest rate much, much more manageable. I am going to put... Oh, no, we're going to need to go all the way around there. Sorry, Bulgaria. The primary thing I want is to not have to fight the Ottomans while I'm also... Nope. The primary thing I want out of this is to be able to fight the Ottomans without the British getting involved. So that's what I'm going to do. Dangerous equipment. The furniture manufacturers in Khwarezmia have seen an increase in workplace injuries due to increased mechanization and poor safety regulations. Accidents have always happened, but I felt like I used to have time to react. Not this time. I grabbed his arm to pull him out of the way, but I barely gotten a hold of his wrist before the arm was all I held on to. Slow down production while the staff adjusts to the new machinery. Reduce manufacturers' throughput, salty industrialists, or we cannot pull the brakes on the engine of industry. Increase mortality of laborers, machinists, and engineers. In Khwarezmia, trade unions unhappy. I can piss off the trade unions even further. That's fine. That won't cause a problem. Normally I wouldn't go for mortality, but legislative failures event. Alright, so this is an event that's going to happen every time you see success chance drop below 0. Despite many efforts on the part of the government to successfully revive laissez-faire from its present imbroglio, the law has come to be regarded as nothing but an inevitable failure. That bill? Please, don't talk to me about it. I would say it's better to just pretend it never happened, don't you? Certainly, but that won't stop that fool from asking about it every day. We must sponsor a complete rewrite of the bill. One setback, and our reduced snap and success chance will go away. Oh, interesting. So now we're called Iran. Cool. That's neat. Excuse me? Saw something silly going on in my market for a second there. Alright, we got open hearth process. Let's go ahead and enable it to produce more steel. They just think they won't be productive, but they're gonna be. I am going to... This is going to be actually a moderately large war. I am going to raise my conscripts, and furthermore, I'm going to add a few more conscripts to the roster, to the fighter roles. Wow, Fergana has a lot of conscription capacity. That's interesting. Alright. Alright, so there is my election. My industrialists have not become marginalized, sadly. Let's give it a week for everything to reset, and then I'll figure out how I want to deal with this situation. Having this civil war wouldn't be too bad. Greece wants trade privileges in exchange for investment rights and trade privileges. Sure. I'm just going to set boss... Oh, can't do that yet. Huh. They stopped being militant enough to revolt for a second, and then they became militant enough again. Let me see. Okay, do I wanna bail out on this? How will my industrialists feel if I did it? They'll be very interested. But I think, yeah, it's time to boot them out of the government. I got the rural folk and the armed forces in, industrialists out. Sorry, industrialists. This simply does not matter to me. Alright, lovely. And that should make the country much more at peace. So, what else can I do now? I can go to compulsory primary school. That would be exciting. Who would be against? Only the industrialists? They'd be furious, but movements would not be affected. Let's do it. This will let me do a huge education. Just a massive, stonkin' thick education. Let's go ahead and set Basra is our strategic objective. That's where we're fighting anyway, but that's what we want to hold. And we are mostly making progress, which is good. Depending on how long Bulgaria can hold out, things will be okay. My industrialists are, of course, furious, and they're evading taxes, but that's okay. I love this number here. Oh, man. I hate paying interest. Alright, so, the force comparison is looking pretty good. I'm blown away by how... Oh, this is part of the main front. This front is the one that... Yeah, there we go. Okay, now these fronts have merged, so this is actually going to be better for us overall, which is fine. Yeah, I know. They're fine. They're just pretending to have attrition. They don't actually have attrition. Alright, so if I can get a hold of Basra, it will be good. So interesting. So I've become Iran. Now I can negotiate. What can I negotiate? With the armed forces. I think that's fine. Let's see what they have to say. Mohammed Medayat has agreed to a private meeting, clearly seeking a path that will benefit both the nation and the armed forces' interests over compulsory primary school. We have no eternal allies, and we have no perpetual enemies. Our interests are eternal and perpetual, and those interests it is our duty to follow. Quietly created a special subsidy for these good people, cost the government a barrel full of money. 10% chance of getting backroom dealings exposed in 300 days. They get stronger and increase their interest movement pop attraction. Place their members in administrative positions, sucks out some bureaucracy for 10 years, makes them stronger. Let's add some fine print about political concessions, makes them stronger forever. Let's just go with the administrative positions. The armed forces are not necessarily an interest group that we can rely on long term. That means we're going to need to build up a little bit more bureaucracy, so we'll do the same as we always do. Mazandaran and Fergana. And Tabriz. We'll go with one more in Tabriz as well. Obviously this is going to cost us a pile of money, which I don't love, but that's okay. I'm much more able to take on debt now than I ever have been before. Ooh, I don't love this ratio here. I don't love this ratio one bit. Oh, okay, we're winning this battle. We're winning. No, win the battle, win the battle. Stupid mud. Gosh dang it. And there's hand crank machine gun, so that's going to help, hopefully. I may have overestimated my ability to win this war, my friends. My nerds. I may have made a terrible error. Force comparison's still good. The Heavenly Kingdom has formed the Grand Alliance. That's interesting. We've got 19% occupation. What? Great Britain withdraws from the Tabriz Protocol. Okay, that's fine. They're wary. Let's improve relations, shall we? Okay, I don't love this force comparison at present. So, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a defense footing for now. And what we'll do is we'll let them swing at us for a while and see how that goes. The invisible cry. Due to the inhuman conditions that children face in their workplaces, many families in Iraqi Ajami have chosen to hide their offspring in the hopes of them not being sent to work. They told us to stay quiet, sir, so that's what we did. My brother and I stood there, quiet as a tomb, you see. I held my breath as much as I could, but it was too dark, so I figured they'd already left. They wouldn't find us here, you see. That's what Mama said, but it was too dark, sir, and it was cold. Children? What children? Extra enactment success chance? Or it'd be a shame if they were to hide in these abandoned houses. Extra enactment success chance, industrialists weaker, but unhappy. I'm just going to say children? What children? I don't want to piss off the industrialists any more than I have to. I'm hoping... You know... Why are we so low on org here? We're low on supply. I'm not sure why we're low on supply. Perhaps we'll die. We're still winning offensive battles over here. The downshot of that is that we're still doing offensive battles, which I don't necessarily wish to be doing. Bulgaria is bailing out of this thing, but we're doing okay. We've got war support protection because they're going for... They've got war support protection too, but if we can get Basra, they won't. You have a Kirgiz awakening. I may need to increase the size of my professional army, which is a little crazy. Just given things, but I think I'm gonna have to. When I say it's crazy given things, I mean it's crazy given the cost. But I'm gonna have to do it, because I really want to win this war. Let's send our fleet to tangle with their fleet. This might be a giant mistake. Okay, so they took over Bulgaria. What does that reset the war to? We're losing war support actually faster than they are. They've still got war support protection because of Basra. They're hardly losing any war support, so time is on their side with this. Force comparison is still good, though. It's still positive. I'm going to wait a little bit longer just to build up my my forces. I think I'm making the right call still. If I lose this, it won't be the end of the world. I don't think do they have war goals against me? They've got revoke claim war goals, which I don't, which I'm feeling very unhappy about. I may have jumped the gun on this, friends. I'm not gonna lie. Botched a boycott. What? Seeking support amongst his sympathizers, Mohammed Buzar Jamehri has organized a boycott against the compulsory primary school law. On the day it was to begin, there was barely any sign it had been declared at all. Some had taken due lessons from the Third Estate. Quantity was a quality all its own. If you had enough bodies to support your cause, to support whatever your cause was, nobody could stop you. Unfortunately for a few, there was a lesson they hadn't learned. People need to either like you or like your cause. Inform the printers about this blunder. Mohammed Buzar Jamehri loses a bunch of popularity and we get extra enactment success chance. Or everyone has a price for fealty. Armed forces, happier, cost the government money, increase enactment success chance. I'm going to do the first one. You know, I may have made an error. I may have done myself an oopsie. Also, my radical movement's trying to kick off a revolution. That's bananas. Stop that. Okay, we're having a better force comparison now. Okay, infertile grounds. Finding both the Iranian public and supposed political allies unreceptive to its ideas, frustrated, Mohammed Buzar Jamehri has decided to retire from the realm of politics, opting instead to spend the rest of his days penning embittered reflections on what could have been. I give these bumpkins the truth, and how am I rewarded? With deafening silence. They call Tehran a city of ideas, of culture. The only evidence of cultivation I found in that cesspool of a city came from the fields outside of it, and even they were cared for poorly. Good riddance to you all, I say, sirs. Good riddance to you all. Let him peddle his ideas in peace, far away from Tehran, slightly stronger industrialists. He retires and settles domestically, or politely inform him his presence is unwanted in Iran. He's exiled. Industrialist's a little mad. No, that second one, I don't want him around here. Alright. Are you in a different war right now? I don't know. Anyway, force comparison's looking a little better, so let's go to an attack footing. Village is better than heavy barrage, I think. Interesting. I didn't realize all these guys had a bunch of special abilities, so we'll use those. Push you on advance. I don't know how to help you guys. Why don't you go to the main? Why don't you go back here? I don't know how to help you, but come back and we'll sort it. We'll sort it out, but good. Okay, all right. It looks like we're winning the battle. Yes, the Ottomans are our rival. That's fine. You know what? I didn't realize we weren't rivals already. This army should have its organization back soon. We'll put them on the front again pretty soon once their organization gets sorted out. It's at least a little sorted out. Not loving this. I wish this were not happening. I really do not wish to have another revolution, but we are winning a battle here. If we can get a hold of Basra, we can have a hold. We can get war support protection and force them to make a deal, at least. Force comparison is improving, and the Third Army's organization is improving, so I'm feeling pretty good. Obviously, cash flow is absolutely buggered, just totally Robert Borked. I'm in a really bad spot in terms of money, but you know, we're doing our best, and we're accruing occupation, so that's good. They're moving armies. Oh, they had a revolution in Karadaga, a Montenegrin revolution. Interesting. All right, well that's not gonna be helpful to us for very long, so we have to capitalize on this. This army is still pretty low on... Hey! Move to amendment. Nice. On organization, but I'm going to put them on the front regardless. Gantry cranes. Very nice. That's super duper good. Untrained hands. Children working in the furniture manufactories in Kabulistan have suffered injuries trying to operate the machinery used in production. After examining the boy's hand, the doctor sat back down, turned to the mother, and sighed deeply. Well, I'm afraid your son is never going to become a great musician, he said, but then again, perhaps that was never one of his more likely prospects. Keep children off the factory floor, reduce dependents' income, or these new industries need all the employees they can get, increased mortality, trade unions and rural folk big mad. I'm just gonna pick the first one. I don't want to go for increased mortality right now. I'm getting plenty of mortality as it is from this war. Mahmoud Ansari retires. Our new intelligentsia guy is still a radical. Alright, well, them's the breaks. I'm really super curious about what happens when Naser al-Din Qajar dies, because, okay, we got two battles running at once. I wish this wouldn't happen, because now we're losing this one. Maybe having the second... Maybe having the Third Army at the front was just a giant mistake. I don't know why we're splitting forces here. Like, this is the target. We should be attacking here. As long as we don't gain occupation here, we're not moving forward. Yeah, I don't know why we keep trying to... Like, winning battles here doesn't matter. Oh, they weren't focusing on that. Well, that's fine. It happens. The street side standoff. Troops in southern Turkestan have reported more and more confrontations with belligerent mobs. Fighting will likely break out soon, even if nothing is ordered. There's only two ways to control the situation. Either pull the troops back or tell them to engage. The soldier shuffled nervously where he stood, shifting the weight of his gun back and forth as he stared at the crowd, stirring far too close by. He thought he recognized some of those faces, or would have, if they weren't twisted in utter loathing of him and his uniform. What was he even doing here? Was he standing with the right people? Order of withdrawal. Increased state penalties from turmoil. 50% chance of increase or decrease radical movement revolution progress. Or our men are professionals. They can maintain discipline where they are. Higher chance of the radical movement revolution progress decreasing, lower chance of it increasing, but increased mortality. Sadly, I'm going to do that second thing. I think I gotta. Wow, force comparison's even worse. Losing battles is really rough. We are winning defensive battles here. So the enemy is pushing forward, but our force comparison has never been worse. I'm going to move to a defense footing. This last stand, what does this do? It's extra casualties taken. Okay, I'm definitely not going to pick that. Academy defense. And defense. Because as long as they're pushing on us, we're going to be more likely to win battles. They've only got revoke claim war goals against us, which... It sucks to lose our claims. I really would like to keep my claims, but it's not the end of the world if we lose. Yeah, they're bringing more forces in. So I think at this point, this war being lost is probably a foregone conclusion, unless they're really dumb. But we're in voting phase for compulsory primary education. I think probably to deal with this, I'm going to enact freedom of speech. I think that just makes sense. Wow, our forces are really, really under strength right now. Man, I don't know why we kept having battles over in Hayil when that's just I don't know how to deal with that. I don't know why that happened, but it's okay. These things happen. If a revolution pops off, it's going to take a lot of our industrial areas. But again, I don't think this revolution's actually going to pop off, because I think we're going to hit, we're going to finish out compulsory primary education, and then we'll be able to deal with it. So force comparison is improving a little bit as the enemy pushes against us. We're above 20. I'm going to make one last thrust towards Basra and see if we can't take the state. And if we can't, then it's not a big deal. And if we can, then that's the war in the bag. For us. Is the enemy advancing? Not yet. Not at the same time. I'm a little confused because force comparison should be very much in our favor, but apparently it's not. Yeah, no. That's a shame. That's a shame. Usually the Ottoman Empire end up being kind of pushovers, but this time they ended up really getting their stuff together and being able to really reform and start to properly function, which is rare but interesting. All right, so if we can't get full occupation of Basra within the next like 5 weeks, that means the war effort's toast, but that's okay. These things happen. These things happen. Come on, compulsory primary education. There we go. Beautiful. So now, this movement. I'm not going to give them a republic. Free speech is probably where we're going to go. Yeah. Free speech. Let's do it. Can I see what effect this will have on the movement? Hard to say. This will piss off my Shia Ulema and my landowners. Let's enact it. Alright, so they are now projected to go towards agitating. That's alright. We're going to lose the war, and that's okay. And can I negotiate with my Shia Ulema? I can. Beautiful. So this is the trick right here. Alright, once again, we have the options of these tense negotiations with the Shia Ulema. Despite ungentlemanly comments, raised voices, and the shaking of fists, the Shia Ulema have admitted to several compromises that would change their perception of right of assembly. After I delivered the Ayatollah's offer, I became incredibly grateful for the lector in front of me, my hardwood shield against the onslaught of insults and very physical detritus that was tossed at my person. I raised my arms but kept my voice level. Gentlemen, please. I concede that this offer may not be all you hoped for, but the Ayatollah is quite adamant. Right of assembly is the future of our nation. Vow to pass guild system next. I definitely don't want to do that. Let's add some fine print about political concessions. Adds political concessions, which makes the Shia Ulema stronger. Or vow to improve the lives of common people. Or these offers are not in Iran's interests. I can't get to standard living 12.6, obviously. Let's add some fine print about political concessions. You know I'm going to do those political concessions. I do always be doing that. No, I unlocked pan-nationalism, got some extra authority. Nice. Alright, so we lost our claims, but our forces are demobilized. It's fine. These things happen. We're going to annex Hejaz. And cash flow's doing a lot better. So where are we with credit? We're paying a lot in interest. But I think, for the first time in history, because our cash flow is so good at present, I might not be totally goobered on this. I'm actually going to... Do I drop the size of the armed forces back? I think the answer is yes. I believe this is where we were. So, that'll save us even more cash. This army's a little funny. That's weird. So I got a little bit more authority. Can add one more consumption tax. Let's throw it on coffee. Radical movement is decreasing in... is decreasing in activism, which is fine. Here we go. So this is... Oh no, this is just a coup event. The brave general Reza Shirazi has begun to make threatening moves towards seizing power over Iran. He is backed by a faction of the industrialists. Colonel Shah Qajar lifted the tent flap and slipped inside. The atmosphere was already heavy with smoke and the other chairs filled. Maps were spread out across the table, terrain, government facilities, vital infrastructure. He saluted the general sitting at the end of the table and took his seat. He was not alone. Colonel Shafai sat to his left, his pipe merrily contributing to the suffocating haze. I apologize for my tardiness, Shah Qajar began. There was a new gate guard. The general nodded. Forgiven. Your report, please. Status of the 24th? Godspeed, General Shirazi. Starts a coup. If we support it, which is the first one. So if the coup is successful, we'll have an election in 3 months. Recent coup reduced opposition interest group approval, increased legitimacy, blocks government reform, cancels enactment of right of assembly. Industrialists get much stronger. Free trade party is added to the government while everyone else is removed. Or the present regime must survive. So the first one gives us increased coup strength. The second one gives us increased coup resistance. The effects of the coup remain the same. I'm going to say the present regime must survive. Damnable industrialists. Yeah, so they're big mad about the child labor being banned, and they're big mad about the failed petition. Once those things are done with, they'll be good to go, but that's going to take its sweet time, so I'm really hoping we can fight off this coup. Free speech pamphlets. A pamphlet in favor of right of assembly has been circulated illegally across most of our major cities. They print them fast so that we can compensate them. We've pretty much given up on containing it. No point now that it's out there. This will help our cause, increase enactment success chance, reduce enactment time. Or we could use this to push a stronger message, stronger liberal and radical movement for 10 years, increase enactment success chance. That's interesting. I'm just going to go with the first one. I don't necessarily wish for stronger movements long term. Now, I'm going to increase the size of my arts academies, and I'm going to produce more silk. And then arts academies. Where are they? Are these under development? They are. Interesting. It's curious. Currently they're all in Iraqi Ajami, with a couple in Kandahar. We'll continue to build up the ones in Iraqi Ajami. What else? We have some demand for cars in our market, which is interesting. Glass is still really, really expensive. I'm going to grab one of our... Ooh, that's right. We've got the industrial port method. Okay, hang on. I need to be clever about this. And by I need to be clever about this, I mean I need to remember to, at the same time, move many of my shipyards over to producing steamships, because that's what we need for industrial ports. Do I have ironclad yet? I don't, but I'm working on it. Or it's spreading, rather. And I need more glassworks. Still, let's build up the ones in Isfahan and Baluchistan. And what we'll do is we'll grab the ones in Isfahan. Oh no, they're profitable. Alright. And we'll build up the ones in Khorasan as well. And then another round of the ones in Baluchistan. We'll do that after, though, because I think there's going to be other stuff we want. Could use more iron, maybe, and coal? Just a little bit, though. Don't want to get too buck wild with this. So iron and coal, these are both mines. They'll need to be done in rural. And then coal. Should be fine, and I'll put the second block of glassworks at the bottom. And that'll be just fine. The smoky backroom. Figures aligned with General Shirazi and the industrialists have approached elements of the landowners, looking for support in a hypothetical plot against the government. I'm well aware that our relations have been tense in the past, but I would hope that the radical threat facing our nation and the need for decisive action is enough to bring us together on this momentous occasion. A partnership could be fruitful for both parties. The coup's progress will advance by 15, landowners become stronger, or the landowners are uninterested in these plots. The coup's progress will retreat by 10. I'm going to pick the second one. I think that kills the coup. Yes, indeed. For lack of interest, the conspiracy to overthrow the sitting Iranian government has lost all momentum amongst the industrialists. General Reza Shirazi's plot has been abandoned. The trouble with you, Shirazi, is that just because you have succeeded in introducing a handful of half-wits to disfigure the Tehran scene by going about in black shorts, you think you're someone. You hear them shout, "Hail, Shirazi," and you imagine it's the voice of the people that is saying, that is where you make your bloomer. What the voice of the people is saying is, look at that frightful-ass Shirazi, swanking about in footer bags. Did you ever in your puff see such a perfect perisher? Pray no one will find out what nearly transpired. He loses a bunch of popularity and the industrialists become weaker. Or we know what plans he had in store, justice will be served. Industrialists much weaker and reduced interest group approval. I don't actually want to piss off the industrialists. This is 60% chance he dies, 40% chance he's exiled. I don't necessarily care about that. I'm just going to go with the first one. Weaker industrialists is better for me long term. Alright. Continuing to build stuff up for now. finally got over the 50 million mark for our economy, which is pretty nice. And we're no longer in a coup. We're hurtling towards right of assemblies. That's going to make a bunch of our interest groups happier. And overall, things are going pretty well. We're paying a modest 15k in interest, which I don't love, but is what it is. And the Shia Ulema have received more political concessions, which if we're able to pass this before the next election, will make them even stronger, which will be nice. Trade unions are going to pop into the Society for Progress. We've got an unstable government somehow. Moving loyalties. That sucks. I'm so curious as to what happens when Naser Qajar dies. Like, I want to continue the episode until he does, simply because I know that historically he was toppled in a coup. Or basically in a coup. But at present, that's not going to happen to him because I'm going to stop it. He was toppled, and the Pahlavi dynasty was brought to power, which changed things pretty radically in Persia. I don't know that much of the history, but they basically stayed in power until the 1970s when the Islamic Revolution toppled them. So they were very influential. I don't know that much about them except for I know a lot about the first Pahlavi king, and I know a lot about the last Pahlavi king. The first one did a lot of good stuff in terms of economic development, which was very important to do. Enlistment offices, very nice. But he didn't go the way of representative democracy. Let me see if I can get the Kazimid state conquered. It's only 15 infamy to conquer them. No one will step in. Let's do it. I know the last of the Pahlavi kings had a real hard time keeping control. Well, I mean, not have a hard time. He lost control of the country. That's why things went that way. Yeah, he was trying, but didn't have the greatest sense of how to accomplish what he needed to accomplish. Man, I'm in a tough spot, my nerds. This is a hard run. I also need to increase healthcare and education, because that's going to further bolster the strength of my Shia Ulema. Are there still states that yeah, okay. That I need to incorporate? No, we're almost completely fully incorporated. Khwarezmia, Turkmenia, and Yemen are still being incorporated, but they're mostly done at this point. Yeah, Khwarezmia is almost finished. Turkmenia is almost finished. Yemen, 6 years, so they're half done. It is what it is. Okay, I think after that I'm going to expand east a little bit. Get my economy increasing in size and all that. Which I do still wish to do. Come on, right of assembly. Dissenters break ranks. Stall event. To outside observers, the rural folk may appear firmly committed to the idea of right of assembly, but behind this facade of unity, discord has long festered. Now a clique of dissenters have finally had enough and have officially broken with their fellow members of the issue of the reform. For how long have we stood together? How many times have we lent a willing hand your way? Yet our own concerns are left unanswered, our desires are left unmet. If we shall not be heard here, we shall be so elsewhere. Splitters, may the devil take them. Weaker rural folk. A reduced enactment success chance. Loosen our purse strings, perhaps we can lure some of them back. Costs a pile of money, but not as much enactment success chance. Rural folk weaker. Or offer them custodianship over a new draft. Increased enactment time, but increased enactment success chance. Rural folk a little weaker. I'm going to go with the third one, actually. I can take a stall. That'll put me above 50%, and that'll be good. Ooh. Are my relations with Britain good? They're improving. Alright, keep bashing away at that. I'm going to improve my relations with the Russians. I already improved relations with the Americans. Up until they stopped caring. What about the French? Let's improve relations. I would like better friends. More and better friends, please. Continuing to buffer the size of my economy. I'm not really sure why my standard of living is not going up as my economy increases, because typically that's how it goes. I know that investing in the light industry is typically the way you accomplish that. So we're in our war with the Qasimid state now. I don't think this is going to be that much of a war. They have virtually no army. This is going to increase the population of Yemen significantly, or at least the parts of Yemen that I own. And then tech-wise, yeah, I'm still bashing my way forward into the tier 4s. Does the Ottoman Empire have trench infantry? Is that why I'm getting goobered fighting them? Doesn't appear so. Whoa. I feel like Konya didn't used to all be one state. Huh. I've still got line infantry in some areas. Maybe my armed forces ended up really pissed off. I'm not sure. American attitude worsened. America. Why would you do this? Oh, no. We just know each other now. Okay, let's be better friends. I'm trying to have as many friends as I can. There we go. Perfect. Particularly because I keep starting wars. I want to make myself a power block. I think I'll do that at the beginning of next episode, and then I'll start conquering some, subjugating some countries. What if I make Uyghurstan a protectorate? I'm recognized now, so I can do this. Let's do it. Huh. Short on government bureaucracy again. Which sucks. This keeps happening. This just keeps happening. Let's just build up Yemen, because I also need taxation capacity there. We'll throw these government admins at the top of the queue. Why not? It's going to take a long time. But it's only a long time for government admins. It's really only 11 weeks. And that'll be fine. That'll get us the bureaucratic capacity we need. Again, I do want to increase the size of my bureaucratic capacity overall, but I need to keep my economy increasing in size. Like, that's really the thing I need to keep working on, bashing away at. Because right now, my cash flow situation is pretty tight. I need to make up for lost time. I'm not upset about the fact that I haven't advanced economically as fast as I could wish to, but I need to get advancing further. That's the ultimate situation here. Let me see. Coal is still pretty expensive. Well, happily, we're building mines. Discord within the landowners. Advancement. An influential faction within the landowners has grown frustrated with their co-members' neutrality on the topic of right of assembly. Themselves in favor of the law, they've now resolved to form a separate political faction intent on passing it. How can you all stand idly by and watch the world pass before your eyes? Have you no sense of honor, of duty to your fellow man? I say nay to such lack of ambition, and I dare say I'm not alone in this. With their support, the bill shall pass, 15% enactment success chance, landowners weaker, or the trade unions extend an open hand to these mavericks, stronger trade unions, weaker landowners. I don't necessarily wish to strengthen the trade unions, so I'm just going to do the first one. The landowners can be weaker, that'll be chill with me. This is bananas, I can't believe this. Naser ad-Din, how much longer are you going to stick around? Yemen is 72, and it's 1903. I don't know how he wound up without an heir. Am I making the Russians mad? Yeah, a little bit. Russia damaging relations. Gosh dang. Oh my goodness. The Americans are at war with the Brits. Well, they're occupying Canada. What could this mean? It's the Portuguese. America's going for a protectorate in Portugal. America, you got complete hold of Canada. Why didn't you frickin' put in liberating them as a war goal, you goobers? You're big dummies! Greece and Egypt are shooting at each other. Egypt wants Crete. Or, Greece wants Crete, rather. That's funny. I have, like, the ability to flex my muscle in my sort of local area, but going up against foreign powers has proven pretty tough. I'm improving a lot of relations because I want to stay cordial with a lot of people as I build my power block. Alright, so I've got the ironclad. So what I'm going to do now is, do I have more than one? Oh, right. Gotta reset production methods again. Now, do I have more than one spot producing military ships? I don't. Austria, you would like a trade pact. Let's negotiate at least a little bit. Oh, no, I don't want to give you military assistance. I want to get military assistance. Why can't I get military assistance? What if I had the right to invest in Austria? What about cold hard currency? No, there's no way I'm going to get any of that. I wish they hadn't changed up the currency thing. Transfer a subject. Give me Hungary! That would be ridiculous. They don't want investment rights. You know what? Just give me a little cash and it'll be fine. Wow, they don't want that. They really don't want that. What is going on with this? I feel like they were trying to make the diplomatic system way more flexible, and then they made it inflexible, and now nobody wants to do anything. Fine. We'll do a trade deal. Cool. Oh, right. I'm at war, so that thing's not staying up. That's okay. Oh, Tuva. Nice. Diplomatic ties with Spain lost. That's interesting. I do want to conquer Tuva. So I think the plan is we'll steal some territory from Afghanistan, then we'll steal some territory from the Khalsaraj and Chitral, and then we'll try to subjugate the Khalsaraj, and then Jammu, and then we'll keep going from there. I think this is the capital of Uyghurstan. Yeah, so we're holding the country right now. Give me a protectorate? They won't do it yet. We got to get them shoved down a little bit longer. The United States are pleased with us, which I'm also pleased with. Alright, so I need a second military shipyard. So let's build that in Aravistan. How long are you going to take to build? 22 weeks. Alright, that's not too bad. And then we'll swap the old one over to ironclads, and then we'll swap our ships over to ironclads. Let's actually go up to a larger fleet. Popular playwright endorses reform. In the midst of the debate surrounding right of assembly, one of the country's leading playwrights, strongly associated with the trade unions, has staged a popular play, a widely acclaimed play whose politically laden theme makes no secret of the author's desire for the law to be passed. The man's viewpoints may be somewhat partisan, but sir, you cannot argue with his prose. Word of assembly will be on everyone's lips now, increased enactment success chance. Sure puts the trade unions in a good light, stronger trade unions. Well, let's ensure the play gets a wider international audience, extra prestige. I'm just going to go with enactment success chance. I really want to get this done. Interesting. Kyrgyzia is partially held by Uyghur as well. That's neat. I don't love the number of split states up around here. Oh my goodness! Oh no. I thought the Kalmar Union was frickin' the part of the North German Federation. They're a puppet. Interesting. So they are the Scandinavia, but they're a subject of the North German Federation. That's curious. That's extremely curious. Oh, and they're notorious as well. They're doing a big infamy. That's why they haven't formed Germany yet. That's why they haven't taken over Hamburg yet, because they're too infamous. Hey, buddy, you want to be my protectorate yet? No? We're still going to fight? Okay. Fine. That's fine, I guess. I guess it's fine. Ugh. Man, we're really far behind innovation-wise. Literacy has increased a lot, but I haven't kept up with it in my universities. I think perhaps I will queue in those universities, because now's the time. I know cash flow's doing kind of rough, but it's still worth it long term. I'm in urban. Hey, there we go. Perfect. University. So, let's go for 3 levels in Isfahan. Let's go for 3 levels in Urmia, 3 levels in Kurdistan, and we'll bring up 3 levels in Nuristan, and we'll bring Arabistan up to 5 as well. Uyghur we need to have better relations. They are going down in Liberty Desire, which is good. Cash flow is still a little bit bad, but it's going to be bad as long as we're building, and we need to keep building. I'm paying about 20k in interest, which is reasonable. It's not bad, but I wouldn't like to continue paying it. Finally! Okay. The time of Naser al-Din Qajar as ruler has ended. Mozzafer ad-Din Ayrum is the new Ayatollah of Iran. So, he is the leader of the Learned Council. Alright. Beautiful. So that means he's going to be in charge a long time. He's ambitious and a political operator. And that's going to make it a lot easier to maintain legitimacy, I do hope, at least. Okay, so that's about what I assumed would happen. So that's good. That's good. That's been a good way for things to go right now. How's our investment pool? Investment pool's got a pile of cash in it. Alright, here we go. We got a new election popping off. I'm going to let a week go by to see what happens with that. And there we go. So, a lot of momentum in the hands of the Revival Party still. They're now the rural folk and the intelligentsia. Society for Progress is now armed forces and trade unions, which is interesting. Learning Council is still at significantly negative momentum, but they're doing a lot better now that both of these parties are basically balanced for momentum. Alright, so the right results. This, again, we can cheat on the elections. I'm going to do the fifth one once again to keep us hurtling towards free elections. We're a little bit low on authority, so I'll cut our consumption tax on tea. And now let's talk about aggressive campaigning. Naser ad-Din Tabrizi, following an address where he condemned the Learned Council, has begun to mobilize dedicated partisans to oppose it in the election. An unprincipled morass, best served not in parliament but in prison, devoid of positive achievement, a collective self-parody, an embarrassment to the Iranian nation. Down with the Landed Council. certainly a better alternative. Extra momentum for the Society of Progress. Reduce momentum for the Learning Council. Or a pack of miscreants indeed significantly reduce momentum for the Learning Council. Gosh dang it. I'm going to do the first one. That's going to change our election again. But, like, I feel like I have never seen the party in the government with such a huge block of political power be just so goobered, so clobbered in the elections every time. Let's get education moving up here. French Republic took state. This is really curious. Campaign financing. Parties, particularly the Society for Progress, are struggling to raise funds for all their campaigning needs this election. Again, Society for Progress is the armed forces and the trade unions. Okay. Again, they mesh okay with my my current government, so I'm okay if they're stronger. Let's see what you men are charging. Fees, yes, that's to be expected, but what's this lodging charge? That fancy hotel room could house half a village. And there's enough wine billed here to drown a fish. Votes don't come cheap, sir. You do want to win, right? Some money can be spared for the Society for Progress, extra momentum for them. Every party can be provided with basic funding this election cycle, extra opposition interest group approval. Or if a party can't afford a campaign, should it be campaigning? Reduce momentum. I'm going to do the third one. That's reasonable. Law progress to voting. Wonderful. 70%, I think they deserve it. Industrialists are still biggest mad, but again, almost all of that's going to decay. And hopefully, as we get moving here, I can get a little bit more legitimacy in the country. I'm really made enormous efforts to bolster the Shia Ulema, and so far, those efforts don't seem to have taken fruit as much as I should like. Rent in this economy? The Shia Ulema formerly censored Mozzafer ad-Din Ansari over an unconventional article in a Revival Party newspaper advocating for disruptive social policies. I would like to express my sincerest apologies for my article in the Gazette on Thursday. At the time, I've been speaking with several fellows about the deplorable state the renting situation has become in Iraqi Ajami. Perhaps it is forever too soon to suggest polygamy as a viable solution for the working class. Now, this part of the world has a long history of polygamy, but nevertheless, we're doing the sanctity of marriage now. So, our options are sanctity of marriage must be protected, reduce momentum for the Revival Party, which is not saying that there's not a history of polygamy in Europe. There absolutely is, but more widespread here and for longer. Sanctity of marriage must be protected, 20% reduced momentum for the Revival Party. Ansari loses popularity, Shia Ulema stronger, or anything to make renting more bearable, increase momentum, he gets more popular, Shia Ulema weaker. I'm going to pick the first one, obviously. Reduced momentum for the Revival Party is good for the situation. A lurid national awakening has begun in Fars. Wonderful. Alright, I'm starting to really goober myself here, so I think we finish these universities and then I have to dial it back. I am still continuing to increase this thing. How much of the country have I successfully... Kirby, what are you doing here? We're still at 80. We're at 88.3% Shiite, which is very good. We are working on converting a lot of these other areas, which is rock solid. We do still have less than 1%. Okay, we're down to less than 0.1% animists. We do have some Abadi people. They're part of the people of the book group, so that's okay. Super duper chill. It's interesting. In so many runs I'm struggling to strengthen the more liberal blocks of the government and winding up with a see, this is an event I like. Well, a minute here. The eyes of the electorate have turned to the candidates that seek to acquire a position at the head of the government. As the election approaches, voters debate who would provide the best leadership for Iran. I quite like Astarabadi, mused one of the men at the bar, mused one of the men at the coffee shop. I couldn't say what it is I agree with him on, but I think he has a good head on his shoulders. His neighbor spoke up. Enough to look past the company he keeps? Well, why not? Allah knows you could say the same of any of us. Nobody's better to handle a fool than his friend. Nasr ad-Din Astarabadi is the man of the hour, extra momentum for the revival party and popularity for him. A term of Hamza Hakimi is what the country needs. Extra momentum for the moderate socialists party, that's the landowners. And he gets more popular. Nasr ad-Din Ansari has the character for the job, extra momentum for the free trade party, and more popularity for him. Or Mozzafer ad-Din Ayrum is worth hearing out. Extra momentum for the Learned Council, and more popularity for him. I'm going to go with the fourth one. That's not shocking. So, this run seems determined... Oh, I was going to swap over my freaking... My boats. My boats. This run seems determined, is what I was saying, to make things easier for me in terms of my... in terms of making my liberal party stronger, but it's like, it's one of the first times I'm actually not going for that. Hey, reinforced conflict. And there's right of assembly. Wonderful. Is there anything else I need to do? I really would like to ban slavery. Okay. Hold on. It's going to make my pro-slavery movement militant. But I'm going to do it. Great Britain, do you want to be frickin' better friends? Do you want to give me military assistance? If I could get an ally who would help me in this war, I would be very pleased. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like I can. Alright. Let's negotiate. Let's wait till after the election and then negotiate. Wow, pro-slavery movement is gonna frickin' civil war me. This is unbelievable. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I might still be able to get a lot more enactment success chance. Oh boy. Border crossing. Our soldiers regularly perform maneuvers near the border of the Ottoman Empire. Having our troops parade all over the border is for nothing to them to be a useful display of power, especially if we frame it as an accident. A border is just a line drawn on a map. If it isn't guarded or defended, why should an enterprising nation not come along and tweak those borders? An excellent idea. This will give us 14 infamy, reduce relations. But Ottoman Empire gets reduced prestige and increased morale loss. Or this would be ill-advised, armed forces unhappy. I'm going to do the first one. I can take a little infamy. It's not ideal. I would rather not have a bunch of infamy. Huh. I didn't get a bunch of infamy. They got a bunch of infamy. Interesting. I'm curious. And there's the elections. So. Well, we're still where we want to be. Alright, so armed forces is going to have to be... I'm going to have to give the armed forces political concessions. 13 military shipyards. Ridiculous. Ooh. This is not that big of an increase to army power projection, so let's do it. I'm going to commit to increasing the size of the army. So this is not actually that much. We'll be very easily able to handle this in the long term. A doctrine of iron and steel. The introduction of vessels with metal skin hulls represents nothing less than a revolution in naval warfare. Near impervious to traditional types of shot, Admiral Murad Qajar assures us that the Iranian dominion of the seas will be absolute. While wooden ships with iron men might beat iron ships with wooden men, it sure doesn't hurt to have the armor on our side. This will make our line of battle invincible, extra Navy defense. Metal bows, metal rams, what could go wrong? Increased Navy offense, reduced Navy defense, or Iran rules the waves, extra prestige from Navy power projection. My Navy's tiny. This will make our line of battle invincible. Oh boy, going a long time. I think I'll go up over 3 hours again. No, we're almost there to begin with, so it's fine. It's just fine. I know these universities are expensive, but here's the thing. Getting this innovation up is so good for the long term. Like, we're in 1904 right now, and we're still whacking away at the tier 3s in military. That's really bad, my nerds. I don't know how to explain it other than that. That's terrible, and we need to get going further and faster. Alright, so we got 18% enactment success chance here from slavery banned. Our pro-slavery movement is getting more and more militant. I'm really hoping it doesn't turn into a revolution, because I don't like those. Revolutions cost a lot of money, and I don't wish to sacrifice a bunch of money to deal with my freaking landowners. Maybe I should have gone to legacy slavery first. In any case, our economy's been growing pretty healthily, but I'm going to have to dial it back in terms of spending to keep the economy under control and bash away at my national debt, which is closing in on 15 million. But that doesn't mean I can't go after and break off some chunks of Afghanistan. Ooh, I could actually... I'm going to improve our relations with the Khalsaraj are already great. 23 infamy to take them as a protectorate. Because I do want to take them as a protectorate long term. It would be nice to do now. They are Sikh, which is fine. Which is fine for them. But I want to have a religious convocation. Would it be too extreme religious imperialism to turn Khalsaraj into a Muslim nation? I think probably it would. So perhaps I will not. Plantation proponents publicize policies. Defenders of continued slavery have published a wave of diatribes, treatises, and sensationalized fictional narratives, all to support their cause. The quantity, if not the quality, of all these works has shaken public confidence in abolitionism. It is my duty, and it is indispensable to the public interest, that I should remove prejudices against our nation's peculiar institutions as soon as possible. To do away with an institution which has existed throughout all ages? Why? The presumption of such an effort can be equaled by nothing but its folly. Let the slavers speak empty words, full of nothing, reduce enactment success chance, or these publications are full of evil and lies and must be challenged. 75% chance of reduced enactment success chance, 5%. 25% chance of 15% instead. I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. We're going to go with the second one. Ah, I got the worst result. That's okay. That's okay. These things happen. This will likely be a setback, but that's okay. Indian modernist revolts. Excellent. That sounds based. Should be able to declare interests. Oh yeah, I can definitely declare interests. Cash flow's doing okay. We're chipping away at our national debt with a... not as fast as I would like, frankly, but we're doing okay with it. I wonder if now is the time I increase the size of my government. Obviously, I'm spending a lot. Alright, so what areas are they going to take? They're going to take a lot of the industrial heartlands in the northwest, but not too much. Particularly if I've got Uyghurstan on my side. Things will be easier. Do I go after Kedah? 2.9 infamy. Khalsaraj might step in. If they do, I protectorate them and I steal the chunk of them. Yes, we're doing it. We're doing it. Oh, interesting. There's two different fronts to this war. Now, if Khalsaraj doesn't step in, I could maybe seize... Ooh, actually... If I sway them in with a war... They only want regime change. Okay, that doesn't help me at all. Alright, well that's okay. Education up to 4. Wonderful. So I could add... the Conquer War goal for Pashtunistan. It would make me quite infamous. But I'm going to go for it anyway. And that would speed my progress. Well... No, I'm still... Well, I'm a great power. I'm a great power. I'm not unrecognized, and I'm a great power. Dang. I can't decide. Nah, I don't want anybody coming after me about this. So I'm just going to leave it where it is. It's only a 5-year truce. I can definitely live with more later. And anyway, this will widen my front with the Khalsaraj and allow me to take Sikh Pashtunistan, no problem. And after that, all will be well. I wish I could get a better situation with these slavers. Ooh, Je ne colle. Excellent. Law debate failed. Alright, so that's going to lead to a setback. Let's go to Je ne colle. The Procession of Provocations. Dissidents in Iraqi Ajami have announced plans for a major march around government offices in the near future. While they profess peaceful intentions and claim everyone will be unarmed, the march itself will obviously serve as a rallying point for those unhappy with the government. That damn parade and that infernal music. I can't even see them from here, but I can hear them loud and clear. Stop that march by any means necessary. 33% chance 2% of pops in the state become radical. 33% chance revolution progress plus 5. 10% of them become radical. 33% chance revolution progress minus 5%. Or let the proceedings go along. 5% become radical automatically. 50-50 chance of it increasing or decreasing revolution progress by 10%. I'm going to do the first one. I'm going to stop the thing. Alright, it went up by 5. That's a shame. I was hoping for fewer radicals. Legislative failures. Response to complete rewrite of the bill. Afghanistan backs down. Wonderful. I'm going to incorporate Kedah. I'm going to unify production methods. Khoisan National Awakening. Very cool. That's significantly increased the size of my GDP, which is nice. We're starting to develop more loyalists. That's nice. I still can't get more legitimacy. Industrialists are going to join the Society for Progress, but the armed forces are going to move to the Moderate Socialist Party. What a weird structure. When's our next election? It's not going to be for a while. Yeah. It's all on fire. September 1908. If I bump them out of the government, I can still rule pretty cleanly with just the Learned Council, so I think... No, I can't do that because my armed forces are providing me with all my enactment success chance for slavery banned, and I really need that enactment success chance. Why are armed forces so mad still? They're still mad about the failed petition and all that. Man, I really thought they were gonna... I really thought things were gonna be easier with them. Golly. Those goobers. That said, bashing away at our national debt is still useful. We're already down to 18.3k interest, so we're doing a lot better than we have been doing in the long term here with our finances. Getting recognition significantly reduces your interest rate on loans, particularly if you become a great power, which I am. Am I outpacing the Ottoman Empire in GDP yet? Not yet, and that's something I need to achieve. Wow, they've become a real major. I gotta say, going after the Ottoman Empire, not really something that I usually have a hard time with. Oil. The discovery of oil in Iranian Trucial Coast is causing people to flock to the state, hoping to find jobs in this booming industry. Gold, silver, diamonds, for what? Trinkets and finery for the gentry. Glamour to hide their time has passed. Listen, my friend, nostalgia may be gilded, but the future runs on oil. Encourage this trend, oil is the future. Increased migration attraction in the state, as well as oil extractors. So, here are the total bonuses. This persists for 10 years. Double migration attraction, or 100% more migration attraction, and 20% more oil extractors throughput. But, plus 20% oil industry mortality, minus 1 oil industry standard of living, and plus 50% oil industry employees. Or, progress is best tempered with caution. Half the bonuses for oil extractors throughput and migration attraction, but half the increase to oil industry employees and no increase to mortality and reduction in standard of living. And those are the two options. The third and fourth options are always encourage an oil rush, which is whenever this event happens, pick the first one. The second one is caution is always wise, no matter the place or time. Always pick the second one. I'm going to go with the fourth option because I never want increased mortality pretty much ever. I gotta say, the British Raj has weathered the storms of the politics in their area remarkably well. Aw, Sindhi Uprising is losing against France, which is sad. France has also stayed in second place pretty well. I haven't managed to upset the balance of power in the world very much at all. Oh, they're gonna get Baluchistan, which sucks. Oh, but we're gonna keep Tabriz, which is very, very good. I project to go to 92%. I really want to get rid of slavery, my nerds. It just seems like the most sensible way to do things. I don't wish to be doing a slavery in this here huge swathe of the center of the world. It just seems natural that I would not do a slavery. Do I increase amenability if I beat this? I might do that. Bureaucratic imbroglio. Lawmakers working towards the enactment of slavery ban found themselves mired in a particularly complex set of bureaucratic proceedings, grinding the work towards reform to a near halt. The fully developed bureaucratic apparatus compares to other organizations exactly as does the machine with the non-mechanical modes of production. That is to say, the teeth of its individual gears meet in a chord, or its gears will gnash and churn until it eventually breaks. Dam this labyrinthine legal system, increase enactment time, reduce enactment success chance, or cut through at least some of the red tape, increase enactment time, reduce bureaucracy. Bureaucrats in Iraqi Ajam may become more radical. I'm picking the second one. You know I'm doing it. You know that's what I love to do. And so we're going to build more bureaucracy in order to compensate. We're going to build it fast. It's going to cost a pile of cash, but ultimately it's going to be worthwhile so that we can get our bureaucracy positive. Russia's damaging relations. You goobers, stop that. Can I expel their diplomats so we can be better friends? Probably not. Probably not a thing I can get away with. Armed forces are very happy. Oh, they got a liberal in charge, so they love getting rid of slavery. Philosophical pragmatism unlocked. Excellent. Reduced bureaucracy population cost multiplier. That's very nice. Civilizing mission spreading. Well, you can't win them all. Right, we're chipping away at monitor now. Society, we're still pretty far behind, but we got human rights, we got steel frame buildings. And then in production, we're still bashing away at the tier 3s. We are getting a little bit of unspent literacy into tech spread at this point. We're maxed out on innovation once again, although as our literacy increases, that number is going to go up. Literacy is doing very well at this stage. Pro-slavery movement insists on shooting at us, but what else is new? Slavers gonna slave is roughly what they say, I believe. Yeah, they're gonna take a good chunk of the country, but I think it will all be with me. Oh. Filing cabinets. The use of filing cabinets in the government administration has drastically increased the effectiveness of state bureaucracy. The future isn't in flying like a bird nor in roaring along in a train. No, the future is in filing. I love bureaucracy, extra bureaucracy, restore information about our citizens, extra progress on ID documents. Do I not have ID documents yet? Absurd, I don't. Give me extra progress on ID documents. Golly. I need that. Actually, as much as I need identification documents, it's going to need to wait until next episode. We've got a pro-slavery revolution just shoving towards kicking off. I think if it starts to happen, we'll let it happen because I want to get those guys the heck out of here. I always want to shoot at the landowners. You know me. Those guys suck, and life is better in the world if you shoot at them. But that, again, all that's going to have to wait until next episode. I do want to take Pashtunistan from Chitral, from the Khalsa Raj, and then finally from Afghanistan. I want to get a protectorate over the Khalsa Raj. I want to get protectorates over Chitral and Jammu. And then, we'll see what happens from there. Maybe I'll expand into China. Who knows? But for now, that is all the time we've got. One other thing before we go, I've got a Patreon now. Links in the link is in the description. I was going to wait until I had my other thing running, but that has been taking longer than I was hoping it would, so, I figured might as well get her started. The other thing that's fun that's going on is I'm going to be playing the DLC for Bird Note Command. I don't know exactly when I'm going to do that yet. I plan to do it between the end of the Iran run and whatever I do next for Victoria 3, which I haven't fully decided on yet. I'm leaning in some kind of ways. I forget what I've announced so far. Because I'm such a professional here. Anyway, that's all there is to talk about for tonight. I've had fun. I hope you've had fun, and I will see you on the other side.